It's the 12th day of July, 2015. And this is the Radical Agnostic. Yay. Where ideology goes to die. Broadcasting from the heart of the Sonoran Desert, Tucson, Arizona. My name is John. I'm your host. My co-host is Mark. How are you doing?
Good.
Back on the mic number 4, the stowaway guest, Brian Richter, everybody.
Howdy.
Back from the wilderness, literally. Oh my God, guys, I'm really excited about this show. We have a lot of good topics. I'm really excited. Next week, we're going to have a great guest, finally, Master Sergeant Brian Varble.
Oh, nice.
Of the U.S. Special Forces.
Special Forces, yeah. I want to say he was 10th group, but I'm not sure.
We're going to find out all about his combat experience and his views on A to Z, everything under the sun. He's a kind of like I guess you describe him as a conservative fellow, and very intelligent and very reasonable person. So that's going to be awesome next week. Today, this show, we have a lot of topics we're going to cover. We might throw a little bit of climate change in there. We're going to talk about the Psych Hospital, Tales from the Psych Hospital, where Brian and I worked for a while. We're going to talk about Pluto. I'll explain later. We're going to talk about the meteoric rise of Bernie Sanders, the great independent politician.
I see B smiling already. He's looking forward to that.
Totally.
I just
he's not throwing his hat in. He's just been through this dance too many times.
Well, yeah, I love John's positivity,
his
optimism, his enthusiasm, and then.
But it's bullshit.
If Sanders does win, I'm gonna have fun watching you get fucking deflated a little bit.
Oh God.
I'm already glad to be back, man.
And it will happen. He did address that question of, though, how is he going to actually get anything done in Washington, because everyone will be against him. So we'll talk about that. Remind me to give you his answer on that later. We're going to talk about the method they use to determine if someone is a child molester or if they're attracted to children. And there's some really crazy stuff in this.
Well, should one of us take the test?
Well,
I vote for you, honestly.
You can't because it's secret.
Oh, a secret Chomo test.
Yeah.
So you don't know you're taking it?
Did you say
or
you vote for me?
I vote for you
Why?
to take it. I don't know. I just vote for you.
Because you're the host. You're the main dude of the show.
You're the host. You're supposed to take one for the team.
Okay,
Plus, there's things I don't want to know about myself. Like, if I haven't discovered it yet, I don't want to dig it up, you know?
Oh, that's awesome. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the liberal biased media. Does it exist? My answer, yes. But we'll talk about that a little more later. And we might jump into this whole children's movies thing I wanted to do, but I'm still not clear about it. But right now, we're going to ask Brian, how was your trip? Where'd you go? What'd you do?
I went to California, Sierra Nevada, Kings Canyon National Park. We did the Ray Lakes Loop.
How many miles?
Like about 45, I guess.
45
right
miles
there,
in, 6 days?
We did it in 7 days. I've
Nice.
done it in 4 days with Christine.
Yeah.
These guys, my hiking partners were 70 and 72 years old.
Yeah, that's really
so
impressive.
the 72-year-old guy has COPD. He had been previously diagnosed with COPD too. So
chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder.
So if your excuse is that I'm too old to do that stuff, or I got this health problem, you probably don't have more shit on your body than hurts than I do, and you're probably not 72 with COPD. So
yeah.
Like
you don't have impressive, man. And they did well, right? Like
they're really slow,
right,
man.
Right.
Like
they got to take it easy.
They're like on a 6-mile hike, they get to camp like 4 hours behind me.
Wow. So you had a lot of downtime.
Yeah, I've a lot of time by myself. Like I was thinking about a lot of things, a lot of rain. like one of the worst thunderstorms I was ever in on night 2. I'd been sick for the first 2 days, like throwing up all the way up there. Went through half my toilet paper for a 7-day trip on day 1.
Man, and you don't take much, dude. You do it by the sheet. I've hiked with you before. It's like by the sheet.
Yeah, we're pretty minimalist. And,
yeah, well, you got to keep the pack light.
So first couple days it just got rained on. Then that second night, like we had barely moved the second day because I was so sick. We got like 8 straight hours of thunderstorm, like massive chain lightning, and I just barely slept. And then another storm higher at the high lakes that lasted about 5 hours that probably pushed us down close to the 30s. And then,
oh wow, 30s.
Yeah, and on the 6th day I got, like, in a really hard rainstorm, I got caught on an exposed stretch of trails. It's like 2.5 miles of trail between these 2 meadows where you get some cover, and I was on just a rocky exposed part, and like those raindrops were as big as my fist. Like my rain jacket failed. I was fucking freezing by the time I got to the campground. I was like down there doing jumping jacks.
Yeah. If you're freezing while you're moving under a load of a
well, it was once
pack,
I stopped, I got really cold because that's when I realized that my rain jacket had failed. Not that I was just sweating, and I'm like, no, I'm fucking wet. Like,
so, but you were sick though the first 2 days.
Yeah, I think it was food related.
Yeah, because you got over it, so it's probably not a virus.
Yeah, and then I could tell when I was feeling better because I started hiking stronger, and I was eating again. I was having a really hard time eating anything. Even like stuff that's good, like a poppy seed cookie. I couldn't eat that, so it was rough.
Yeah, how do you continue moving without the calories, dude? You must have felt weak.
Well, yeah, I did. Like, I got dizzy. I was lightheaded. I had like blurred vision on the first day, and then I did get some food in. And the second day we sat around, and it was cool, because it was raining. So I guess I found out, like, I'm good for a nap anywhere, dude. I'll throw my backpack down, just fucking sleep under a tree in the rain. I don't care.
Not me, man. I can't. I sleep in one set of conditions on a bed or in a classic sleep position, supine, laying down, and closing my eyes in darkness. There's no chair. There's no plane seat. There's no car seat with me falling asleep. No.
At one point on day 4, I got to this campground ahead of them, and I just threw my backpack down, and I laid down and put my head on my backpack. And I was sleeping so soundly. I woke myself up giggling at one point in a dream. And then at another point, one of the guys like yelled my name that I was hiking with. And I don't know how many people walked by me just sleeping there beside the trail. But I was like disoriented when I woke up. I'm like, why am I outside? What am I? Oh, right. I'm backpacking. I've been out here for 4 days. Like, that's a hard sleep, man.
Yeah. So like I went with you, what was it, 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
And, it was supposed to be a longer trip, but I kind of jacked it up because my body was kind of falling apart. I'm in pretty good shape, but certain stresses, if you're not used to them, you just don't even know that you have these weaknesses. So my ankles were getting pretty weak, and I rolled them a couple times, not seriously, but enough that they were rolling more and more. And then my patella
Pac-Man
tendon
boot too.
Well, right, and then my tendon in my knee was just aching every step, and then my boots just came to shreds. Like,
I have a picture of them.
It's funny.
They're in 4 pieces.
It's like the hobo boot of the 1920s, with like the flap and the whole.
Yeah.
But worse, like worse than that. It was
the whole sole was off at the end of the trail. On both,
and we had it tied on with duct tape and these super ties that thanks to Jeff Hums
and shoe goo. What the fuck doesn't Hums have in his bag?
Know.
He has everything.
What did we call him? The quartermaster.
The quartermaster, because he has everything, and he's under 40 pounds somehow. I don't fucking
his pack.
Yeah, it's like the Dungeons and Dragons bag of holding.
Yeah, it's just magical.
He just has so much shit. So yeah, but like I wouldn't say that you jack the trip up, because that's just how scat trips go.
Right.
But what would have jacked the trip up is if you'd have tripped over those boots and fell off the fucking cliff.
Yeah.
And we were going. Like, the longer part of that trip was up some pretty hairy trails, and as soon as I knew that you fell, I'm like, we're leaving.
Yeah,
it's not worth losing your friends over.
I fell on some switchbacks going down from the 13,000 foot pass, or 15.
No, it was between 12 and 13.
Okay, and it was just like a very steep downward hike.
It was a bad place to fall.
And I fell, but I didn't fall down the cliff, but I was inches away,
as evidenced by your show, because there's no coming back from that fall.
No.
Yeah.
And I was just I was, well, anyway.
That's why, like, my wife is a badass. She just fucking
Oh,
humps
she
those
had no
trails.
problem.
Yeah, nothing.
I would hike hard. Like you were usually in the front for most of it. I think the first few days at least, and then I didn't want to be the last guy or whatever. I would hump really hard to keep up with you or whoever was in front, and I'd put like concerted effort. I'm like, all right, let's move, and I'm hiking fast for miles and miles and hours, and I get to the camp, and I would be like the second guy there, and then your wife would she'd stroll in like 8 minutes later. I would be thinking, well, I lost sight of her hours ago, and I've been hitting it hard. So it's going to be an hour or two before she gets here, and she's just right behind me,
slow and steady, man.
and just
She's
not
right
out of breath or anything, just slow and steady,
and goes right to work. Like she just starts doing shit that you do in camp.
Yeah.
Like tent gets set up, water gets filtered, food gets cooked. Like
Now, here's the thing. These trips that you organize, they're in these beautiful places, and you have all this extensive knowledge, and it's just like whoever goes with you has complete confidence that it's the whole thing is in good hands with you. But here's the thing: you like to make a lot of distance. You like to challenge yourself and see a lot of different sites, different lakes, different peaks, and all that.
right.
So, for me, my excuse for not going, you were just talking about no excuses. My excuse for not going is not that I can't or it hurts too much or whatever. Like, I'm sure I could get in shape for that. Mine is that it's not incredibly enjoyable to me. Like, it is in moments. I feel that transcendent nature, the beauty.
Yeah.
I do key into that from time to time. But I think I'm just too involved in the comfort culture that it's just, after a while, to me, it's just like,
It's hardship.
it's more work than
It's
the
hardship.
juice isn't worth the
The
squeeze.
juice isn't worth the squeeze.
So I mean, do you? Because you're not like super like relaxed or zen out there. You're moving, you're working, and you sometimes you get annoyed and stuff out there with whatever happened, misfortune or this or that. So like, what is it out there that you love and that really? Because I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. I wouldn't say it's relaxation. I would say there's something else about it. Is it the physical challenge? Is it?
Well, it's all that.
The
'Cause I do
isolation?
find it very relaxing. 'Cause
You do?
I have, especially lately, man. The past 2 years, last year in Montana and this year, like we haven't been pushing as hard. I go to a spot where I think I want to camp, and then I stay there, and they're usually beautiful spots because it's hard not to find
Always,
one.
pretty much.
And like my fair weather hiking days are apparently over because I haven't gotten good weather in like, I don't know.
Well, our weather was good.
Yeah, and generally it is in the Sierra.
Yeah.
But I didn't get that experience.
I don't
this time.
understand that it's raining so much out there. And California is this just another? What is it? Eastern
This is
California.
the South Sierra, so it's about east of Fresno. So
Fresno is north of L.A.
LA, yeah, about a few hours. So it's not real far
not that
north.
far,
It was, I guess it was moisture from Gulf of Mexico and the like Baja area coming up.
Well, I hear that there's supposed to be an El Nino this winter
I hope.
that hits California, and that would be so key.
Well, because this area I'm really familiar with. Like I've done this particular loop. This is the 4th or 5th time I've done it. So the lakes are low. The water
Yeah.
levels look like
They were low when we went.
when I was on this trail the last time, it was 2007, and like in Kings Canyon, as you're coming down, you cross Bubs Creek, and there's all these little tributaries down there, and there's about 4 or 5 bridges you go over, and there was always water under Bailey Bridge, but only one of the 4 bridges had water under it. Last time I was there, they all had water.
Not cool.
Yeah, the lakes are really low. You can see a
Was
lot
the
of wildlife.
vegetation okay, or was there a lot of?
Well, it's early in the year for wildflowers, you know. But what I noticed is, I've been there in August, and there's been way more snow. There's no snow left. There's just little pockets
Up high,
tucked away in the north side of passes, like in real shadowy places. And there's I've been there in late July before, where snow was still deep, and the passes, lakes were still frozen. And
one of the coolest things about our trip was when we saw the grave site of that
John
old
Monnier,
trapper or whatever he was.
He's a shepherd.
Shepherd lived up there in that, dozens of miles from the nearest town.
Yeah,
dozens.
Dead Man's Canyon. That's why they call it that.
I'm sure he was, like it's very cool and like romantic. I see his grave there, and this man lived up in but I'm sure he was like asshole. Like anyone who lives out there, right? Like they got to be a little bit
Yeah.
They're not the guy you want to talk to because their whole point of their life is to get away from you.
Well, no, and like there's a lot of loners that hike. Like that's their
Yeah.
thing. Like the guys doing the Pacific Crest Trail or
Yeah.
doing the John Muir Trail. There's a lot of guys that do it solo.
Yeah.
But there's so many of them. There's so many through hikers. I met a girl named Liz whose trail name is Walking Home. And she was a sweetheart, like reminded me of my wife, made me miss Christine a bit because she reminded me of her, like her camp efficiency and how like she was
And
just
the way
really
she
confident.
made out with
yeah. No, she was a bit hairy.
Oh.
But she's been out since April 26th already.
Cool.
You know, so she wasn't. Her blog is So Much Beauty. If anybody wants to check it out, she's kind of like detailing her trip as she goes, and it's
Nice.
Pacific Crest Trail is a glorious trip, man.
Awesome, dude.
It really is.
Before we move on, my one confession about that is that on our trip, you were talking before we started the show about journaling late at night when you couldn't sleep because the rain was just hammering.
Yeah.
I mean, and thunder, really? You're not sleeping. I don't.
No, and it was loud too, man. Like it was loud. The lightning was so close, like the flashes would wake me up.
Oh,
Like I thought somebody was flashing my tent. And at one point, the moon was so bright out there. I don't know if it was a super moon, but I thought somebody was putting a flashlight on my tent.
Oh
I
my
got
God.
out to look. I got out to look, and
Oh.
the moon was so bright that I could not look directly at it.
oh my God! Oh yeah, because your eyes were adjusted to the dark.
Right,
so
and I'm
yeah.
at 11,000 feet too, so I don't know if like 5,000 feet closer makes that much
I'm
of a
sure
fucking
it does.
difference.
Yeah, atmosphere is thinner there.
But yeah, I couldn't look directly at it.
Oh man! Well, my little confession was that sleeping out there, I was in that one of those little single tents that you let me borrow, and I was kind of scared. I was like kind of scared of the dark. Like I had to pee, and it took like 5 or 10 minutes for me to
Get up
and go do it because it was like 3 a.m. Everyone was sleeping, and the tents are like 50 feet apart from me. No one sleeps next to each other,
Right.
And it was just me solo, and I was kind of scared. Like most of it, 90% of it was like practical fear of animals. Because you kept talking about bears the whole time, and you're like, oh yeah, there might be a bear.
Got to be bear aware.
And you hear rustling out there constantly.
Yeah.
And so you're like, what, is there a bear? So but the
Mice at
10%
night.
of it was like a supernatural, like childhood, like, I'm scared of the dark.
That's why you get a 4-foot-long piece of PVC.
What do you do with that? Oh,
Then you
pee
stick
through
the
it?
end out of the tent and piss in it.
You just
Yeah,
pulled
don't have
that.
to get out of the
You
tent.
just pulled that device right out of your knowledge
Beef
bag,
with
didn't
a
you?
camping hack right away.
Yeah.
It's funny because I don't think about that stuff anymore. Like if I got to pee, I just the thing
Yeah.
I'm thinking of is like, is it raining? Am I going to get wet? Man, this sucks. Like,
But you're also in the tent with your wife most of the time.
Well, the past two
Yeah,
trips
that's
I've been solo, and there's a few times this trip where I got up and just staggered out, and I'm like already done peeing, and I'm like, man, you never even didn't even bother to look around. You're just like half out of it, ready
pissing on a bear.
to crawl back in the tent. Yeah. I saw a lot of pica, like
Those little
they look like-
cute little
Yeah.
half bunny, half rodent.
they're the most adorable thing I ever saw. Like one jumped out and started eating, and he was just looking up at me like right at my feet.
Paula taught me about the pikas. They're the only animal besides rabbits in the lagomorph family, which is above the species. It's more general than the species level. So
Right.
So rabbits are lagomorphs, and the only other thing that's a lagomorph is
a pica.
this little guy, this little pica.
They live high up,
They got big ears,
rocky.
and they're little.
They need it cold and rocky.
You would probably think it was a rodent if you didn't know.
Yeah,
what
it
it
looks
was.
like a guinea pig, only bigger and cuter. It looks like
Yeah.
a rabbit with shorter ears
Yeah.
and not as big of a fluffy tail.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they chirp. Like you. The first few times I heard them, I thought it was a bird, and I kept looking for a bird, and it ended up being this little animal that honestly is adorable. Like if you had it as a stuffed animal, it would.
Oh yeah.
It would be awesome.
Yeah.
What do they
Or a
taste
pet.
like?
Just he goes right
He
there.
just goes right to eating. The cute little guy.
Let me get. I can't reach Brian's ribs. Let
Yeah.
me just jab him.
I'm sure they taste pretty good.
Yeah, they're like
All
rabbit, I
mammals,
guess.
yeah, I mean,
Hassenpfeffer.
rabbits are one of the most
Delicious.
tasty. Yeah,
Yeah, Hassenpfeffer's good.
I think that's because they're kind of fatty animals, right?
Yeah.
They're not
Well,
super
this one was a
lean.
chubby little dude.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
rabbits are always fatter than cats or dogs, for example.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, no, not necessarily.
Well, not
They're-
the lean ones, the jackrabbits.
their meat's pretty lean. Their meat's not
Is
fatty.
it?
Yeah. They might have fat on the outside, but
Well,
once you skin them, they're not. There's
and
not a lot of
the
fat
ones that they
in
grow
the
in
meat.
cages are like bigger rabbits too.
That's
just
true.
different breeds.
Yeah. Those, what are they called? The
The ones that they farm for meat, you mean? The
No.
real big ones?
I was talking about the huge ones. The name of that
That you show it to a girl and they automatically, I want one.
Yeah,
like,
Flemish giant.
Oh, yeah.
They had
huge.
one at the Pima County Fair. We went, and they had a couple in cages, Flemish giants. They were like, I don't know, like 30-pound.
Yeah, they're
They
huge,
weren't that
man. They're like
heavy.
as big as my dog.
Oh, yeah, they're huge. They're
Yeah.
bigger than any cat.
Yeah. Did
And
you
they're
get
just-
to hold it? Did they
No.
let you hold them?
Well, they would have if we asked, I think. There's a little 10-year-old girl that was kind of like knew all the bunnies' names, and she was in charge there and stuff. But yeah, we didn't.
Nah, she would have been
bother
a tyrant, dude. You never mess with a 10-year-old girl.
her. Yeah,
Never
Those are-
mess with a 10-year-old girl.
and her bunnies.
No.
All right, it's time for our new segment. Let's see if this works. Tales from the Psych Hospital.
Oh, shit.
I don't know if you could actually hear what
I
just
heard
said.
it.
Okay. Tales from the Psych Hospital. Brian and I, our massive audience has for a long time been wondering, wanting to hear our tales, stories of working in a level 1 psychiatric facility. Level 1 referring to the fact that they're not allowed to leave.
Nope, locked.
So, and if they try to leave by force, what happens?
Well, guys like me and you
Restrain
jump on them, hold them down,
Yeah.
put them in 4, 5, or maybe even 6-point restraints, and there's probably an injection, which we refer to as a B52, which would be Haldol, Benadryl, and Ativan.
Yeah.
5 of Haldol, 2 of Ativan, 50 of Benadryl.
What the hell does the Benadryl do?
Side effects
Makes
of
you
the
sleep.
Haldol, and it makes you tired. But there's side effects, itching and stuff at the injection site, and then
Yeah. I take Benadryl every night to go to sleep, which probably isn't good for me, but that's where I am at this point.
this is Johnny like an episode of Fight Club.
Yeah. It's probably better than taking.
Or we try to talk you out of it. Like I've talked like as many takedowns as I did. I talked way more guys out of doing dumb shit than I
Exactly.
had to stop from doing dumb shit.
And that's what I wanted to say. The challenge of this whole segment is one to make it interesting and show you how crazy things can get in there, but also to not to go too far and misrepresent it as like this brutal place. It's not.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds
Can
of
be,
it
but
can be, but it's not usually.
Yeah, very rarely.
And there's all kinds of people that spend time in psych facilities. So all kinds. I mean, from the severely psychotic to the clinically depressed to the
To the meth head junkie,
Meth
to
head
the
junkie,
to
to
the
the-
sad old lady that lost her husband and can't recover
Yeah.
right away, or vice versa.
Or
the
the-
sad little husband who lost his wife.
Yeah, or the sad 18-year-old who has a crappy life, and then
Yeah.
they just don't know what's the point of going on.
dealt with a few like gender identity crises. in there.
Yeah.
People going through the. And we saw them over the years as things progressed for them through that change.
Yeah. And some of people, as far as we know, got better. And for depression especially, a stay in the psych hospital of a week or 2 weeks or however long you need is often actually very effective in improving things, because it takes away all the responsibility. First, it gets you out of your house. It gets you out of that familiar environment where you've associated all these sad things. Secondly, though, it gives you have no responsibility there. You just have to get up, take your medicine,
Go see the doc.
go see the doc for 5
yeah.
minutes, go into the
Yeah, for 5 minutes.
go to the group, go to groups, talk. So it can be very helpful, and I want to stress that too. But when we talk about stories from the psych hospital, we're going to focus on probably the more interesting and like out of the ordinary things that happen. So I guess I'll go first. We'll both do one, and then we'll move on to the next thing. So appropriately enough for the first segment of this thing, I'll talk about my first day ever working at a psych facility. It was in a different state, and I had just gone through the training period. It was a few weeks. Most of the training was legal stuff, filling out forms and sexual harassment policy and just this and that, and filling out forms and more forms, and then playing little games with the other trainees and all that silly crap that wastes time. And then there was, I guess a few 2-3 hours of like physical restraint training. I was a young man at this point and did not know any jiu-jitsu. This was many years ago. And so that was it. And yeah, the physical restraining thing was very rudimentary, and honestly, I didn't know this then, but you can't learn a martial art or physical training techniques without doing them on an unwilling subject.
Yeah.
Even if that's a training partner,
Right.
I don't mean someone in the street, but on doing them on an unwilling subject who wants to confound your attempts. And 2, training for years.
Yeah.
Those 2 things, I'm sorry to tell you, all you guys out there, 16-year-old males out there who want to learn to be a ninja through YouTube videos.
Good luck.
It's not going to work.
Don't go picking fights, kid.
Yeah. So just one of those things where there's no way around it. You need extensive, long periods of training to
Develop
ever
muscle
get
memory.
good.
Yeah.
It's like a sport, too. You're not going to be the greatest ping pong player ever.
Joe Montana didn't pick up a football when he was 30
Right.
and light up the world.
Yeah.
You play your whole life to get that good at something.
So these restraint techniques were pretty much BS. And anyway, so I get finally first day on the job. I walk into the unit. It's a locked facility with big double doors, and then you've got rooms for each of the clients or patients. But of course, we call them clients these days because everything's moving towards that sort of business terminology, and it's less of a stigma on the patient to call them a client. Anyway, so my first assignment was what's called a 1-to-1, and this is when a patient is violent towards others or towards themselves. So suicidal ideation, homicidal ideation, etc. Just general violent behavior. You get put on a 1-to-1, and that means a psych tech, which is what Brian and I were. We're sort of under the nurses. The nurses are our bosses, and then the doctors are their bosses, and the administrators are their bosses. So we're kind of at the bottom of the barrel. And the tech sits in a chair in the doorway of the client's room.
Or maybe even arm's length, depending on how severe.
Yeah. And the idea is to keep eyes on this patient literally 24/7 until they're taken off of this protocol. So, and this is, okay, first day in the psych hospital. Am I nervous? Yes. Do I know what's going to happen? No. Have I been trained extensively? In my opinion, no.
Yeah, no.
And especially, and of course, they said, I walked in, it's like 7 a.m. in the morning, and they're like, all right, you're on the 1-to-1. And I was like, what's that? And they said, and they explained it. So you have to watch this person. So they put me in a little chair in the doorway. And if the guy tries to leave the room, you have to stop them via negotiation and then, if necessary, physical restraint. They're not allowed to leave and mingle with the other patients. So who this fellow was a black homeless guy. And about 30 years old, really muscular guy too. Probably about 6 feet tall, I don't know. But he was in bed sleeping, and the night before he had gotten violent with the staff and was sedated with one of those cocktails Brian mentioned. And now it was the morning, and he was starting to wake up. He was very disoriented and stumbling around, and he started waking up, looked over at me, and we sort of started having a conversation and a back and forth. This is my first hour, basically, on the job in this new thing. And he was, it was like at first, of course, I'm thinking, wow, I'm talking to this guy, I'm relating to him, and I'm gonna fix him, man. I'm gonna heal him right here with a little empathy, a little love.
It's burger time.
Yeah, it's burger time, man. I'm gonna fix this fella. Of course, that wasn't the case, and he was sort of feeling me out for weaknesses, because this guy had been in psych wards before. So he kind of figured he said something really rude to me, and I answered back like, "Don't give me any of that shit." This is what I think I said. And then he sort of looked at me, and you could see in his eye that he had realized at that moment that he could get me. He could get to me. And I had made my first mistake, 20 minutes into the job. So then he starts trying to get out of the room. I had to stop him physically. And it wasn't like I was throwing him around or anything. He was stumbling because he was so disoriented from the medication. So I would put him back in. And so finally he realized that the way to get out was to ask for a shower. So, because you have to, if someone wants to take a shower, you got to help them. So, so I asked the nurse, I'm like, he wants to take a shower. And she's like, okay, put him in the shower. There's showers at the end of the hall. And so he got in there. He's all naked and everything. And he's taking a shower. He's kind of singing, but he's waving, wobbling back and forth because he's so disoriented. And I have to make sure that he doesn't get hurt. So I'm in the doorway just watching him. Plus he's still on the 1-to-1, so I have to watch him. And he's in the shower, he's singing and waving back and forth, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna fall. And then sure enough, he wobbles back and he's going down. And I run in and I grab him, and now I'm literally in the shower with him and getting soaked. And I grab him under the arms and prop him up. And I think after that, I got him a chair or something. He took a shower in the chair. But and then so that was it. So then I came out, and a nurse had seen what had happened. And he went back to his room and everything in the bed, and I was still in the doorway. And the nurse saw what happened. She goes, that was really brave of you, and that was really good of you. And I was like, oh, thanks, but that's what we're supposed to do, right? You're not supposed to let him fall. And she goes, no, not that. She goes, just because he's positive. And I was like, what do you mean? And she goes, HIV. He's HIV positive. And I was like, oh. Really? And so I hadn't known that, and no one had told me. And I don't regret catching him, and I, of course, I would do it again right now, because you're not going to catch HIV from touching a person. But still,
unless you were naked with an erection, maybe.
Even then.
Oh, if you're running to catch him and he sits on your lap.
Oh.
It's slippery.
And
You guys could fall.
It would be.
There's a lot of friction. There's no lube.
It would have to be me that sat on his lap, wouldn't it?
No, not if your penis bleeds and his anus bleeds.
Wow, that's a lot of ifs.
That's a lot of bloods. Yeah.
Infinite universe, infinite possibilities.
So that's my story. Brian, what's your Psych Hospital story for today?
I had already worked psych for a number of years before I worked inpatient, so I had seen people, but not at their worst, at their most symptomatic. So my first real experience with a fully psychotic, fully delusional, not coming back anytime soon person was about a few months. It was before you got to the hospital. It was a Native American lady, and she was sure that she was having Jesus's baby. And so we have to come in and do room checks every day to look for contraband, to look for dangerous items. And, man, she hated me, dude. She saw those tattoos, and you defiled the temple. Like, she's, how bad it can get. Like, she's cursing me in ways that and I'll tell you guys.
Like, literally placing curses.
Yeah, man. And I'll tell you, like, a bipolar manic woman is a true force of nature. I would rather deal with beef, pissed off, and wanting to thrash us than a manic, hostile woman.
Eventually, beef might realize, like,
there's too many of them.
Forget this.
I'm tired of getting this shot. I'd rather have, go to the cafeteria instead of have to eat in my room. Like, they'll make a different choice eventually. Man, I've been called names. So this lady who's calling me names, she's delivering curses. They're directly from God. She's screaming at me to take off my shoes when I come in the room because it's hallowed ground. Oh. And when she gets pissed enough, she'll do this awesome. She does a war dance that, like, she put it down. Man, I don't know if it was legit or not. Like, I've never seen the actual movements that are supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And people, like, we're supposed to take her down and give her a shot because she's doing, like, she'd go nuts in the hall, man, and screaming, so convinced. This went on for weeks while we were waiting for the court order treatment hearing. And then when we could start forcing meds, well, then Tony Rascone and I had to take her down, like, every day, man. And she was a nice lady, like, we'd go in and we're like, hey, can we give you the medication orally? We have a court order. The doctor has ordered you to take this medication. And this is the shitty part of psych. This is the shitty restraint. These are the ones that you usually do. You don't do them for aggressive people. You do them for people who are afraid to take the meds or they don't want to take the meds and they've been ordered to. And it's sad, man.
There's something tragic about that, and possibly immoral.
It's so sad because, like, you think a lot of them are like, you're going to poison me. And she thought we were putting poison in her body, so she fought so hard, and people would be so mad at her. And I'm like, man, think about this, bro. The 3 guys are coming in your room, and you're convinced they're going to shoot poison into you. Like, aren't you going to fight with them? I'm going to fight with them. Like, she's fighting with this dude. She feels like she's fighting for her life, and there's no time I feel worse Then when we let her go and walk out of the room, and she's laying there on the bed crying, thinking that she's going to fucking die. And the only thing I feel good about is that it's okay, sweetheart. You're going to wake up in about 4 hours,
and you'll be
and you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And you're probably even going to feel better.
Right.
Well, then, like, watching her slowly come out of this, and then we find out, like, she's the most incredible artist. Like, the things she can do with the littlest material. She made a Mona Lisa with salt and pepper and glue that was fucking incredible.
Wow.
Like, I can't even tell you guys how cool this thing was. Construction paper, glue, salt and pepper. She did the most amazing Marilyn Monroe with colored pencils, and then one of the techs cut off a lock of blonde hair for her that she put on there, and like was just doing this amazing work. And how like mortified and humiliated and embarrassed she was when she got her senses back.
Was it the antipsychotic meds that pulled her out?
They eventually got her, and she's like, "Oh my God," she's like, "Did I really think that I was pregnant with Jesus' baby?" She's like, "I was really screaming at you guys, like I did."
Did she not remember it?
No, the doctor read her back her notes, because she asked when she became lucid, like, what was I doing? And she was, you would have never known how intelligent she was or how talented she was. She was just a human wreckage. That's what that shit does to people. And this had, like, there's such a stigma about mental illness. There's some beautiful people suffering.
And that's what I want to. That's what I try to tell people a lot of times. We view, like, psychotic people oftentimes as just completely other. Like they're just, all that behavior is just some kind of inexplicable insanity that doesn't make any sense. But I try to say, imagine that, because what happens in psychosis a lot of times is they hear voices or they see things that aren't there,
or they believe things that aren't true.
Right, delusions. And all I say is take a perfectly sane person, okay, like yourself, whoever you are, or one of us, and just add in voices in your head that aren't there. So just add that thing in. You're not crazy, but all the, except for these all you have is voices in your ear that
kind of like right now.
Yeah, for you. Oh, I see. From this, from these headphones.
But they're mean. They're probably mean. They're very rarely nice.
That's true.
They say horrible things to you.
The voices say
kill everyone.
They do. They
or kill yourself.
Yeah, kill yourself. Kill people. Or he's against you.
You're worthless. You'll never fucking do it.
Yeah. Putting them down. Exactly. Now just add that in to you right now.
No, but
and your behavior will start to match that of the psychotic person. So it's what's reasonable about them is their reaction to what they're experiencing. It's very reasonable for them to. You see people grabbing at the air at things that aren't there, and you're like, "Wow, he's nuts." Well, he sees something and he's trying to get it.
Perception's reality.
If you saw something, you would reach your hand out to try to get it.
Well, and people that are hearing voices, like, how much of that is. Like, everyone's got an inner voice, right? Everyone's got an inner voice.
Yeah, but it's audible to them. It sounds like a radio, they report.
Well, right. But what I'm saying is, so maybe they're more sensitive to it. Maybe they have more heightened...
Oh, well, that's something I'm glad I'm not sensitive to. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
No, you make a good point. There's a lot of people who, especially a lot of...
Do you think that, like, just to go back to an earlier conversation, do you think they got a little more in the toe in the collective consciousness and it's too fucking overwhelming?
No, it's possible.
It could be. I was just saying, like, like you were saying, your shit and are never going to amount to anything and all that. Like, there's lots of people that feel that way that aren't crazy,
Right.
They would distinctly define these voices, though, as not their own. Like, they make a distinction between, like, them.
Right.
Like, when I tell myself, "Damn, Brian, you're a piece of shit," and it's not like that. It's like a person who is not themselves, a voice that they don't know.
Right.
A lot of times they assign.
It's a voice that you can recognize.
I get that.
Like, I hear my mother saying, "But my mother's been dead for 40 years."
Right,
No, I get that, but it's the same as, like, split personalities. Like,
very rare.
You create. No, I know, but the people that have these split personalities, they're not actually different people. They're all facets of that same person.
Right.
They just have assigned them different people. They're like, "Well, I'm gonna act like this," and
they're places to go. I guess they're like places to go and hide, or things that have created
it's a forceful trauma bifurcation of the psyche. And it's like a lot of times each person they experience memory blackouts when they were the other person, because the two people or more don't know that the other one's exist.
I know a psychiatrist we might be able to get to come on here, actually.
That's cool.
Right, but my point is that person who has these split personalities in them, they're not actually being possessed by a different person when they're in the different personality.
Well,
They're all actually the same person.
right, probably.
They don't realize it, and like you said, and they have created these characters, like, but it's all the same person. It's like saying that, oh, Tom Cruise, yeah, he was, when he was in Risky Business, he was that person, and then when he was in Top Gun, he's that person. And it's like, no, it's all Tom Cruise. He's just portraying different characters.
Right. So, I mean...
only he's getting millions of dollars in a great life, and they're getting fucked.
Yeah.
Right.
And he is crazy.
So my complete point is that people that are supposedly crazy or have been labeled this or diagnosed this, they're not really too different from anybody else, except for they have possibly chemical imbalances or
behavioral. Yeah. I agree. And there was a great book by the French historian Michel Foucault, Madness and Civilization, where he describes how different things are considered crazy in different cultures at different times.
And when was this guy writing? First Psych Hospital was in France.
He's still alive.
No.
In Paris, I think.
Is he still alive?
Yeah.
He's ancient. But yeah, he was writing in the 50s.
Yeah, I think the first Psych Hospital was in Paris.
If he's still alive, he's like 100.
Well, and I bet it was
he might be dead.
I bet it was like a chamber of horrors.
Yeah,
like the
the
shit they used
asylums.
to try to use to cure people, like ice water treatments and...
I mean, they were fresh off of thinking that they were possessed by the devil. They were one step removed from that.
Yeah, that's it.
It was the birth of modern
drive the crazy out of them with like physical stimulus.
Yeah, and the electroshock therapy, the way they did it back then was horrible and cruel. But now they still do it.
But now it's like super focused on like specific neuroreceptors,
and it's
like,
much less.
Yeah.
It's much less electricity. They were bombarding them.
But they like know
way
what
too
specific sections of the brain to target now, and
it
for
works.
depression and
it works
and
pretty
like
well
severe,
for depression.
Yeah, for severe depression. That's pretty much what they use to treat it.
Yeah, it's actually a really interesting advancement in the treatment of severe depression is the use of ketamine, which is that horse tranquilizer that people used recreationally for decades as a fun drug. I don't know what it does. It gets you high.
It fucking rewires pathways is what it does.
Well, anesthesiologists...
It's actually a cat tranquilizer.
Oh, is it cat?
Like PCP is for large cats, like tigers, lions.
Oh,
ketamine is for house cats.
Oh, little guys.
Yeah.
Like
PCP
oyster?
is also used for horses too.
Okay, so it's a cat tranquilizer, and so anesthesiologists are allowed to use this stuff and prescribe it as they choose. So it's actually legal for them to open these treatment centers for depression. So these are anesthesiologists who know nothing about psychology, but, well, not necessarily. And they
did a psych rotation probably with their MD.
Yeah. So they're using this stuff legally to treat depression, and what they do is they give it to you in an injection, so it only lasts for like 45 minutes, and but it's really powerful, and you kind of fall asleep and have like a kind of a trip, I guess, but it's different than a psychedelic drug. It's not as like abstract and weird, I don't think, but it's more like
maybe if the anesthesiologist administers it, it's not. I don't know. The time I did it was like, you ever play Qbert?
Yeah.
Well, it was like being in Qbert.
Ketamine?
Yes.
Recreationally?
That's such a great description, man.
Qbert with the pyramids of blocks.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Weird sounds.
Was it a good thing or a bad thing?
It was okay. It only lasted like 10, 15 minutes. And it's like, and also it's like an out-of-body experience.
Did you take it as a pill?
Or
a liquid?
I think it was a liquid.
Interesting.
The guy who went hiking with his, speaking of just hallucinogens before I forget, his daughter's going to do some weird, like they're planning their wedding at like some Central American country with that ayahuasca. It's going to be like a DMT wedding. Wow. I'm like, fuck, how do I get on that guest list, dude?
They're going to do that at their wedding?
I guess, man. Wow. That's like for the wedding. They're talking about doing that.
Do they know that you like
it can't be during
for a while?
No, it's going to be like that. They're going to have it down there though, and like the people that practice that stuff, it's a whole camp that they do, and like there's There was a bachelor party in the mountains when I was up there. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
shit, if I had mine to do over again, I'd make these motherfuckers hike this loop. Find out who my friends really fucking are, man. Who wants to come to the bachelor party now, bitches? I'd be by myself.
So there's a lot of reports out there of ketamine. They do it for 3 weeks, like every other day or 3 times a week or something. And then you come back like once a month, and the reports are flooding in of the amazing efficacy of this treatment. And they're saying, and it's not because the depression stays gone for months, according to a lot of these people. And it's not that the drug is still in you. Like when you take antidepressants,
Right,
you take them every day.
half-life,
It's
yeah.
gone in a day, basically, effectively.
Right.
It's not in your body or affecting you. So it's that the experience of the trip or
Is what
whatever
affected you.
is what affected you, not the chemical being in you 24/7. Because these antidepressants, man, I mean, I have people close to me that have tried them, and geez Louise, man, like they work for some people, but it's less than half of people that it works for. It's like just a little bit more than the placebo effect works, and so and they have a lot of terrible side effects usually. So anyway, this is a really interesting advancement in the treatment of depression and starting to open people's minds about the use of these different drugs for clinical purposes. And of course, MDMA, known as ecstasy, has
Fucking
been,
shamans and medicine men have known about this shit for centuries.
yeah, and of course, it just
Savages.
takes
Savages.
They're savages. So,
So, quick question about
yeah.
the antidepressants and people that don't want to take them and think that you're poisoning them. And why don't the hospitals just put the drugs in the food without letting them know that it's in the
Well,
food?
patient rights, man. You got a right to know what you're taking and what the side effects are. And
But what I'm saying is, if now you have, if you have been given permission to force the patient,
okay, this
to
is
do the
this is
drugs.
probably a
Why don't
liberal
they-
thing
why
because
don't-
there's still this law about informed consent. We still
Mhm.
have to tell them what we're doing. We still have to afford them every opportunity, as if they're lucid, to give them every opportunity to understand what's happening in the process and why it's happening. We're just not allowed to deceive them.
that's retarded, because you're forcing them. You're going to make them take this whether they want to or not.
Right.
So I would think it would be better for the patient and better for everyone else
But for
to
most,
give it to them without their knowledge, so that they don't freak out, so they don't think they're being killed, so they don't.
it's just still it's unreliable. You wouldn't know how
if
much
they
of
got
the
it
food.
all,
Yeah,
a lot of times they're paranoid. They don't want to eat the food. You don't even know how hard it is to
They
get
might
these
not be
people-
hungry.
A
that
paranoid
day.
person
And
Put
then
it in
what
their
you-
water. Dissolve it in their water.
Yeah, a lot of
whatever.
them.
Yeah, but
don't.
now you've wasted the first bit on the food, and now you have to get more. Of these
No,
drugs.
you figure out which way is works best.
Well, the
Then that's what
injection.
you do.
The injection is the best way. Generally, it's not for depressed people either. It's for really psychotic people.
No, right? I'm
Yeah,
not,
and you would
no, I'm
need
not
to use
saying
a
it's
lot
for
more,
depressed people. I'm
too.
saying
Yeah,
for
You would need
whoever
to
it's
use a
for.
lot
The-
more to put it to
yeah,
have it to have them ingest it. You'd need to use a lot more of the drug, and it wouldn't even if you did, it wouldn't last the same amount of time, and it wouldn't.
Chances are you'd have to put enough into where they're going to taste it.
Especially if they're violent at that moment, then it's not an option at all. They're not going to eat or drink anything you give them,
Yeah.
and it won't. If they did, it wouldn't work fast enough. Whereas the
Most
injection,
of the really psychotic people end up on what are called decanoate shots, which are time released from the muscle. So you get like a decanoate shot once a week or once a month, and there's different strengths of them. But initially, they hit you with pretty hard ones. Like they'll hit you with a decanoate shot, and then B-52s as necessary if you're aggressive or violent, or we'll keep trying to get you to willingly take oral meds to build up to that level. But otherwise, like that psychosis is pretty hard to break with oral meds if it's that far in. I agree with you, man. Like I wish there was a better way to deliver
it
this
does
stuff.
seem
And
contradictory to be able to force it, but not be
Right.
able to. But you still have to tell them. But I do
Right.
think it's probably a good thing because maybe I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Good
yeah,
point.
there's a lot of legal shit involved with
Yeah.
that, though. I can tell you that there's a whole
Mhm.
ton of legal reasons why you can't do that.
Yeah.
And I don't understand the legalities of it well enough, but I know if you're not giving patients informed consent, or if you're not telling them what they're getting, you're going to get shut down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just the whole of mice and men thing for me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you're forcing them to do something. You're gonna kill fucking George or Lenny or whoever the fuck that
I think it was Lenny. Yeah.
And you tell Lenny, oh, look over there, blah blah blah. You don't like, hey, look, I got a gun and I'm going to kill you because blah 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 and blah blah blah. This is what I'm going to do. That's not exactly
more humane.
Yeah, more humane.
I always used to say,
tough.
why don't we do the shots at night when they're sleeping and just pop in there and get them quick, like bang, get out.
I guess maybe the thought behind it is you got to give them a chance to be lucid all of a sudden and say, no, I don't want those drugs. I'm fine. I'll stop screaming. And then you wouldn't have to give it to them. Like maybe that is a possibility. Or with the execution thing,
a lot of
you got to give them a chance to say, you're about to die. You got any other evidence for us that'll exculpate you? It's important.
They're not looking for more.
A lot of times,
but that's, I think, the theory.
But a lot of times, the threat of the shot will get them to take the oral meds too, so you don't have to give it to them, and then they can see like firsthand, like, oh, it's not poison. Like they gave me a choice, and I took these, and then I feel a little better.
If they let me as a tech, I would have taken it just to show them it was okay.
Yeah, fuck it, I'll eat that shit.
I'll take that.
Because you got somebody to cover
What's
for
in
me
that?
for the next
What's
4
in
hours?
that cup?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll take that.
I'll eat that.
That doesn't sound bad.
It's all bad. John's thing, eat the pills. Come on, time to eat the pills.
That's what I used to
say. That was
say.
his med call. Come on down, eat your pills. Stick this right in your gob. We had some good times, man.
I guess this bleeds right into this whole child molester thing, the psych topic.
Yeah, because people in psych wards are child molesters.
No, but it is.
Way to go, John. That's very nice.
I'm going to tell you though, I've had to work with a couple, and all those bleeding heart, happy, I love you, let's hold hand, ladies that work in psych. All that shit goes right the fuck out the window when they got to work with a guy like that.
And that's the thing that kind of attracts me to this subject is that there's an unquestioned moral consensus about this in our culture. It's that these are the best, and most people say, just shut them, like castrate them, kill them, lock them up forever and stuff, and
not getting any argument.
Yeah, and if they've done something to a child, that really seems like the only way to go. However,
you can put them on an island without any kids.
Yeah, you're the governor.
You're the governor. That's your island, brother.
What they use
you're the governor.
So they once you get to the nitty gritty, though, you have to ask, how do they determine if someone is attracted to children? So some people can be accused of molesting a child, but there's no evidence, right? Yes, Brian's blowing bubbles.
As John is talking about being attracted to children,
I felt like
Brian is blowing bubbles.
I felt like it was appropriate, man.
That's why I keep the bubbles here.
For child molester discussions. Oh man, this is going so far south.
So you have to find out, if someone's accused of child molestation, you have to find out if they're actually attracted. If there's not enough evidence, one of the things is, is this guy attracted to children? And that would be enough to put him behind bars. So a lot of times, sentences, custody of children, all these issues are determined via what's called the Abel assessment, named after this Dr. Abel who invented the thing. And what it is a test to determine if you're attracted to children. And so this, what it functions on is it measures how long your eyes linger. They show you a series of images, and this machine measures how long your eyes linger on the different images. And within the images, now they used to show actual naked children in these images, but of course the ethical questions about that came up pretty quick. So they don't do that anymore. They show children in bathing suits and whatnot. And so they show you this series of images of men, adult women, animals and stuff in various states of undress, and then children pop in there. And they just, all it does is it measures how long your eyes view this thing. Now, the theoretical backing for this test is very scanty. It's very thin.
No, that's ridiculous.
The test?
Yeah. How long your eyes look at a picture?
Right.
You could be looking at the picture because you're confused. What the hell is that?
Or disgusted.
What are they wearing? Or disgusted. Or all kinds of different emotions. It doesn't have to be lust.
Or you can also be trying to trick the test because you've gone onto the internet, like me, and found out how this test is conducted. And so you're like, they measure how long your eyes look at it. Well, I'm not going to look at the kids then.
All eye contact.
So they have websites where they give... There's a website for men who are pedophiles but not pederasts, so they've never acted
NAMBLA?
on it. No, oh well, that's a similar organization, yeah. So there's websites called like Virtuous Dads or something. It's people who are attracted to children, but supposedly have never acted on it, and so they give each other support and advice and stuff. And one of the things is how to beat this test, because so many custody hearings and stuff are based on the attraction to children, and it's all this test is. So this doctor who invented it makes so much money. He charges like $100,000 every time to use the test, and then he has to score. He scores it and gives it gets $100 for every scoring of it, and all, he makes a lot of money off of it. So,
I just wanted to register my surprise about that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not shocked either, to tell you the truth.
So there are
fucking psych Dr. Phil is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. Now, so. Here's what they
Psych Dr. Phil. I'm kind of proud of that. I just want to get that in there, man. Like, I feel like that's a good
well played
analogy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So here's the thing, though, Mark. You objected to the methodology of this test. There's one other method that has been used in the past and is still used in the present, and it's known as the penile plethysmograph. And what this is they strap a sensor onto your
junk
dick,
okay,
your penis, and
is that what penile means?
It is, Mark. It's the
so they give me a high-tech cock ring, and we're off to the chomo test.
And you're in like a chamber. I saw a picture of it. It's like this glass. It's like a phone booth, glass chamber, and they strap this thing onto your
Who developed
genitals.
it? Stephen Strange developed this one.
I don't know. It's so weird.
Why don't we do it in a phone booth? Period.
In a normal phone booth, in public.
Are you naked when it happens? Are you in this glass chamber naked?
I'm
with
assuming
the thing on
do
your
I have
dick?
the choice to be naked?
No, I'm just saying.
No, I'm assuming that this is because this is so invasive. They probably let you put your underpants on or something just to make it a little less horrible.
Well,
but imagine if
I
this
think
was being done to women. By the way,
making a mistake by doing that.
Imagine the feminist outrage of the invasiveness of this procedure.
I can see why they're in a glass chamber. Because, they could be doing some kind of Penn and Teller shit.
Right. Tricking the thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you're in a glass chamber naked.
Yeah, like they're in there flicking their tip or something. Like, stay down, stay down, stay down, stay down. Yeah.
And then
I have to visually observe you, son.
I'm pretty sure they do the same thing where they show the images. And then they test the blood flow to the penis as a test for arousal. And which is, of course, not completely unfounded as a method for testing, but really, is this scientific? Like,
they could kill
did you see
birds.
Tosh's like gay porn Viagra challenge?
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like what that is to me. It's like the gay porn Viagra challenge. It's like it's like a skit shows fucking weird.
And this is what's done in real.
Wow.
And to real people, and talk about an invasive procedure. I mean, especially if you're innocent and you just got accused, which happens all the time.
They could test you and treat you at the same time. Because if they show you a kid's image and you get aroused, then they shock you.
Right.
And they just keep doing that. So,
okay. Thank you for bringing that up, because they used to do that, except not shock. What it was they would give you ammonia. They would stick ammonia in your face, and you'd have to smell that.
Like smelling salts?
Yeah, something horrible.
Horrible
smell.
Clockwork Orange treatment.
Yeah, it was. It was to get. They don't do this anymore.
Cure your criminal urges.
Right. They don't do that anymore. But they used to put ammonia in your nose every time you saw the picture of the naked kid or whatever.
Yeah, so every time you get a boner, your eyes water and you fall out. Now, you're scarred for life.
This Dr. Abel, during his studies of pedophiles, he did find that it was very common for normal adult men to be attracted to adolescent women or girls. So you're talking like 13, 14, 15 years old.
Again, I'm surprised.
So that's kind of an interesting thing, too. I don't know if that's a horrible thing about men, or if that's just nature, and we have no right to judge it.
New Mexico consent laws are 15, I think, the age of consent.
Really?
Yes. So what do you do about that?
I don't know. All these ages are so arbitrary, in all the states, that it's like,
I almost made about like 5 real bad jokes right there. Like I had 5 loaded. They automatically.
But think about it, in polite society, or on TV, let's say, if someone said, "Oh, there was this young teenager and she was banging hot. No, I had sex with her or whatever," and they're like, "Oh, how old is she?" They say 18, and they're like, "Oh man, you're robbing the cradle," but it's funny, it's fine. Right. And then they say 17, and they look at you like a bad person. It's like, well. Yeah, it's bad in the sense that I could go to jail for that in this state, but is it morally bad? I mean, if the guy's 45, then yeah, it's pretty questionable, but I'm just saying, like, that arbitrary line is actually used as a moral indicator, which is kind of ridiculous to me.
Right, except for if it's a woman, older woman, and a younger man.
And then it's not bad at all.
Well, yeah, like all the hot teachers fucking the teenage boys.
Yeah.
Like,
why are they telling on them? What is wrong with you fucking idiots, man?
A lot of times they don't tell
Take
on them.
me to school.
A lot of times they don't. A lot of times it comes out.
Yeah, I think it's more bragging, and then it gets out.
God
like they take pictures or they do whatever.
I never used to kiss and tell.
Yeah.
We can keep that on the down low.
Yeah, man.
I was a good kid.
Well, that gay marriage wasn't even legal yet then, so yeah, it's understandable.
I wasn't.
Some good zingers today, Mark.
They're just coming, man. Beef's on fire.
What, did you wake up like before coming to the show?
Hardly.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say. I mean, I don't want to inconvenience you.
I had to wait to profess my crush on Justin Timberlake till like last year, dude.
You weren't scared. You didn't wait.
No.
We knew about that.
Waited on the Taylor Swift one.
Oh. Until it was legal?
Well, until she was older.
Yeah,
no, I don't know. Until I found out she was 6 feet tall. I don't know how old she was then, but that's the cutoff for me. 6 feet, you're grown, man.
That's not my 6 feet tall woman. Yikes.
No, it's good.
Because by the time I'm 60, I'll be shorter than her, so the way things are going for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you keep fucking around, you're going to be wheeling yourself around, Xavier.
No, but it's just like the whole issue of child molestation. It's serious, and, the actual act of people preying on kids is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
But, like, it's so much of it is like a thing of
righteous
today. And
indignation.
Well, no, but it's okay. So, like Socrates and like the old philosophers,
right?
They used to have sex with young boys, right?
I don't know if Socrates did, but it was common in ancient Greece.
But it was pretty common in ancient Greece
and Rome.
That would happen.
Yep.
And then even back in the day, it was pretty common that men would marry young girls, sometimes even before they were teenagers.
All the time.
11, 12.
Yeah.
And then, you'd have kids. It still goes on in like some Muslim countries and other places.
This is another example of this classic problem that pops up in liberalism. Is it's like the contradiction between feminism and multiculturalism that we've talked about. It's you either have to morally judge all of history before 1970 or whatever as immoral. Like all of ancient Greece, that was just preying on kids. That was just child molestation. It was as evil as it is today. You either have to say that, and in the 1800s, all the gentlemen who were wed to a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, that was either all of history was evil,
and if you're going to say that,
you have to loosen up and say, well, these are cultural standards.
Right, but then, if you're going to say that about, like, all the early philosophers, then what else do you throw away? Do you go, they were evil people and they were doing this to children, but we're still going to take their philosophy seriously, or we're going to still take all their ideas about these other things?
What would happen now if you drop those laws, like the statutory rape laws and the age of consent laws? Like, what do you think people would do now if it indeed was cultural?
Oh, you mean
what do you think?
Do it?
What do you think? Would 45-year-old guys, like, I personally can't imagine
a teenage wife?
Oh my fucking God! Well,
yeah,
she doesn't even know her ass from her elbow.
There are some people that would, like Donald Trump. Who just
he
said that he would have married
his daughter. Yeah, that freak show. Fuck! I wish he would choke on his toupee and just die.
But that's the thing. I mean, you said that you wouldn't marry a 15-year-old, and I wouldn't
consider it.
I wouldn't either. But we're raised in this culture, so we have that moral.
Well, also
value.
you raised in this culture, and you don't. You guys have 2 girlfriends that aren't that age,
right?
Or wives,
and
or
we're happy with.
But you're not. Yeah. So you're not.
like my friends who are older who date younger girls. I don't even, they're like, oh, I'm hanging out with a 26-year-old. I'm thinking, what do you guys have in common? Like, what does she fucking talk about? Like,
yeah.
I barely remember 26.
But, you know, people have different levels of emotional development. And
that's true.
And that's the thing with child molesters, back to that, is a lot of them are people who did not develop correctly emotionally or as extensively as the rest of us. So they got stuck in an 8-9-year-old level, and they actually do fall in love, sort of, maybe. I don't want to make blanket, but from what I've heard, they fall in love with these children sometimes.
So the ones that are violent that hurt the kids afterwards, that's a whole different pathology, like on top of this one?
It must be. Well,
I don't know the answer to that, though. And I don't want to say most, but aren't the numbers pretty high for people who molest kids that were molested themselves?
It's pretty high. It's not as high as people say, because people like to demonize people who've been the victims of molestation. It's almost demon, and those kids grow up thinking,
there's
I'm
plenty
fucked
of people
up,
who are
and
molested
I'm
that don't molest
plenty,
kids.
more than half too. Actually, the statistics are.
That's why I didn't want to say most.
I think 30% of kids that were molested will grow up to do that, or hit their kids too. It's a similar thing. Getting hit as a kid will lead to that violence in adulthood.
And we're not talking getting spanked. We're talking like
about
inappropriate,
beatings.
like getting a beat down. Okay.
Anything more, but it's really, the threshold is low. It's anything more than a very mild. If it really hurts at all, it has damaging effects on most kids. Not all, but most of the time. If you're hurting the kid with the beating, like significantly, it has terrible effects. They learn to distrust authority. They learn to avoid punishment rather than doing the right thing, because there's no moral lesson tied to it. It's just cause and effect. You do something I say not to do, I hurt you, and they learn that reasoning that becomes part of their behavior. But anyway, kids who are molested are not more likely than not to molest kids, and that's important to tell the world. They're not, all jacked up and monsters. They do have to go through a lot of emotional, difficulty because of those horrible things that were done to them. So what were we talking about there?
Well, I just think
those
that
weird tests is what it started.
The
with.
weird test. I think just society and a lot of people, when they think about this issue, they want to try to have some simple solution.
Yeah.
That
everyone loves
doesn't really work.
Everyone loves saying,
or they don't really examine the
them.
problem. They don't really look at it. They don't really examine other issues that are based on it. Like basically, like you were saying, people think kids are property. People think most adults, parents think that the kid is theirs, and they can do what they want with that child.
Right.
Whether it's I'm going to raise them how I want to raise them.
Religious
ideas, or I'm going to beat them, or I'm going to, whatever.
Liberal.
And that basically, from that stems, I think, the whole child molestation thing, too, where people think they can do what they want with not only their kid, maybe just their kids, maybe other people's kids, too.
Well, I think
so you're saying that it could partially be from a sense of entitlement, plus whatever weird perversions you got going on. You segued to it off mental health, so are you saying that it's a mental health pathology?
Well, it is in this culture. Do I agree that it is?
Is that why it is, though?
I'm more of a cultural relativist.
Right. Well, it's been determined to be a pathology, just like homosexuality. Because
you're victimizing the kids.
Yeah, well, it's not because you're victimizing the kids. It's because it's a weird sexual thing.
No, it's wrong, though. It's considered wrong because children can't give consent to sexual acts, which
not
is a very
consent for damn sure.
Which is a very important truth. I mean,
yeah.
So that's why that's on the side of the people.
If John and I decide to hook up, nobody's getting hurt.
Yeah.
No, I understand that. But my
kids
point,
can't sign contracts.
But I don't think it's based on consent as much as it's based on people think it's weird.
I'm gonna.
And that's the same with, like I said, homosexuality used to be considered weird. No. People were like, "Yes, it wasn't considered."
No,
weird.
it was. I wasn't saying no to that. I was saying no to your general point because BDSM is considered weird, but even though it has had a stigma and people have been
it's
mistreated,
not a diagnosis.
People don't go online and say
anymore.
People who don't go on Facebook and say anyone who whips each other in bed it should be tortured and murdered, because that's what they say about child molesters. So there's a difference here. There's a distinction.
People aren't saying that about homosexuality for the most part anymore either.
Right. So you're just saying that the consent factor is not the leading factor of why society hates child molesters. You think it's because it's a deviant thing.
I think the consent factor is a part of it, but I think I think the majority of why people think it's a terrible thing is because they're scared that it's going to happen to their kids.
Which is a reasonable fear, right?
No, I didn't say it wasn't.
Okay, I'm just asking. I'm asking
Right,
you for
no.
your opinion.
It's a reasonable fear, but also at the same time, a lot of those people that fear that, they'll fucking beat their kids, you know.
Oh, yeah. It's a very
make
good
them
point.
deaf, or you know,
Yeah.
they'll do all kinds of fucking terrible things to their children.
Yep.
Tell them about hell and how they're going there if they fucking play with themselves, or you know.
We're
I'm
teaching.
glad I didn't get that speech.
Teaching them that gay people are evil. You know,
Right.
all these religious parents are teaching their kids that.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
we
I
had
mean-
one. Remember, one of our friends was ranting
all,
on
sorry,
was,
not
was
all the
ranting on
religious
Facebook
people.
about how horrible it was that his kids had to watch the opening ceremonies of the Olympics, and I'm like, wow, what was so bad about
When
having?
there was a gay
Yeah.
pro-gay thing, like
Right.
a rainbow or something.
Yeah, why would that fuck your kids up to see that?
You gotta put yourself in their boots though, because they do really think that. They do really think that it's this sign of this liberal wave that's just evil. I mean, they think that the liberal instinct is evil. It's deviant. It's deviant from God's law, and it's just. I mean, you don't have to put yourself in their boots, but I mean, that's.
Yeah, I'm going to stay out of those fucking boots. I'm going to
'Cause
tell
see,
you right
the thing
now,
is, I
'cause
don't-
I like to read books. I don't stick to one.
But here's the thing, man. I don't think that they're evil, though. That's the thing.
No, they're not.
Because the
They're just-
response
they're
from the
just fucking
liberal,
stuck inside their own.
yeah,
They
they
inside their own
believe
ideology. Yeah.
that those
Yeah.
things are correct.
Yeah, they're sold.
Like you were saying, they've been raised in that culture, and that's what they've been brought up on. And
You know, it's
so it's still the same thing.
It's like an analogy to the hearing the voices. It's like if you heard voices, you would act in such and such a way, just like these crazy people. If you believed, and I've always said this, if you believed, just this one fact, how about, that those who don't confess that Jesus Christ is their personal Lord and Savior, they're going to hell. If you believe that, really,
You're responsible to witness to
what
that.
would you do to your friends?
Right. You'd fucking try to convert them.
Yeah, because you care, right?
Like if you believe that,
It's just
legit,
Brian
like you
as
believe
Brian
it,
is, plus that belief,
Yeah.
would equal you evangelizing,
You'd
right?
kick me off the show because that's all I'd be trying to do is
Yeah.
convince you to hear the word.
So
man.
in that, it's rational in that sense. The behavior of fundamentalists and Christians is rational.
Their craziness presents as absolutely rational. I agree.
Well, they've chosen to believe something, and that's the whole thing about this show is that I started realizing that liberalism can take that exact same place. You can start to believe the tenets of liberalism,
Sure.
and then assume that everyone who doesn't believe them are crazy or stupid. And now my opinion has evolved to that I've chosen liberalism. I don't believe it. I don't think it's more true or more right. I don't even think equality and things like that are more right than the views of the conservatives. I know that sounds extreme and crazy almost, but I just think
It just sits better with you.
It sits better. I think it will lead to more benefit in society. Like, for example, democracies don't go to war against each other almost ever, compared to democracies going to war against autocracies and terrorist groups, or two autocracies battling each other is far more common. That's called democratic peace theory, and it's been shown over the last 200 years to be true. Well, democracy is a liberal invention. It was an invention of the Enlightenment. Well, I guess ancient Greece, but in modern history, it was an invention of the Enlightenment and just liberalism in general, which is different than American liberalism of 2015, but it's on a continuum with it. And so in my opinion, then liberalism leads to things like democracy, which leads to things like less war between democracies, and that is a good thing. And I think that about other liberal tenets as well. And so, I can understand the abortion debate from both sides, like 100% get it from both sides. But I make my choice because I think saying that the government doesn't have the right to legislate that against that is more fruitful overall for like sexual education and just lack of women getting hurt by illegal procedures and stuff like that. I've made that choice, So that's the radical agnostic approach to these things. And we can move to the next topic then.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
So the only reason I don't think it's consent, that is the big reason that people have against child molestation, is just look at date rape and all that kind of stuff. Most people will come up with all kinds of reasons why it wasn't rape, why, maybe the girl deserved it, why blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was consent, wouldn't it be also consent on that issue? Wouldn't people be more likely to be against rapists, even just accused rapists?
Oh,
wouldn't they be more likely, like they are? If you get accused of child molestation, the majority of people are going to fucking already judge you and go, no, you're a piece of shit. We don't want you in our neighborhood. We don't want you, all that.
But here's the difference.
If someone gets accused of rape, that doesn't really happen.
But sex between a man and a woman, or whatever the rape thing is,
doesn't matter.
Can be okay.
Right, exactly.
It can be consented
to. That's why.
The question is, was it?
That's why it's not consent.
No. That's why it is, because the sex between the man and a woman can be consensual. The question is, was it on this night?
Right, was it on this night?
The sex between a man and a child cannot be consensual. The woman is saying
it wasn't consent, and people aren't upset.
Right, but what John's saying is that a child's incapable of giving consent.
Right, so every time a man has sex with a child, it's automatically, definitely non-consensual.
It's not just men having sex with children.
I know. Every time an adult has sex with a child, it's automatically non-consensual. The rape case, there's always a possibility that the woman is not being honest. So the question is, what actually happened on that night? You don't have to ask that question, what actually happened on the night that this adult had sex with a child. It doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter what the kid said. It doesn't matter what the adult said. It is, rape.
Right. It doesn't matter if they were wearing a cute pink skirt.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
I think that's
fucked up. But we probably all agree on that. Anything else that we're talking about is that it's fucked up.
Oh yeah. I'm not.
Like the only other thing we're discussing really is semantics, because we're all on the same page.
Well, to be the devil's advocate, do we agree? Because we brought up the Greece thing. So what do you think about that? Plus, there's still tribal cultures where the young boys, as a rite of passage, they perform oral sex on the adult males.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I don't belong to that tribe. I got to tell you, number one.
But I don't think
just the taste I don't want in my mouth.
But see, those kids though,
it's something. It definitely makes me think that the whole ancient Greece connection and how, like, have men always been fucking sickos? Maybe. Have people always been fucked up on some level?
It seems to be that's probably the choice you have to make. Do you have to make the choice of, were men always generally psychotic? Like, all the men who did that with those kids, were they bad people, just like they are today?
Well, I think they were just more allowed to fucking go to primal instincts and shit that was immoral. Like,
you think?
I think. I mean, I don't know any other way to explain it,
because if you were transported, like, even if I wanted to be generous to them and say, well, it was a different time. If you transported me back to ancient Greece right now,
I'm still not attracted to young boys.
Well, no, not that. But I see the guy who is. I see that little boy go to that guy's house. I'm not going to be okay with that.
No, I'm not.
But at the same time, I don't believe.
Don't Sandusky that kid.
I don't know if I believe in moral absolutes.
Don't
but
fucking
it kind of.
I'm
I'm confused. I'm flummoxed.
Well, no, I agree with all that, but at the same time, people do make judgment values and calls, and, like, what if you see a guy going out of a room or into a room with a girl who's obviously intoxicated? What do you do?
Yeah, well, that's a tough one for me. I mean, at first, I guess you have to ask, how intoxicated is she? Are her eyes closing? Is she not able to walk on her own? It's just going to have to be on a continuum for me.
Like, have they been dating for 10 years already?
Right,
like, because if I'm walking my drunk ass fucking about to pass out wife to the room, it's a different story than if John and I are dragging off some chick we found fucking passed out on the couch at the party, like, hey, let's take her in the back. Totally different.
Yeah.
So circumstance, I think, would dictate. And like you said, how drunk is she? Because I've been pretty drunk going home with girls that are pretty drunk too, and we're both giving the level of informed consent that we're capable of giving at that time.
But are you?
And there's a popular.
I was giving consent.
There's a popular feminist approach to this.
That's what I'm saying too. Is so. But you were just as drunk, maybe even drunker than the girl.
Sometimes.
And see, in the morning, you wake up and you don't have this shame. You're not like all. Oh, right. I mean, our culture makes it so that men are supposed to try to go get laid and supposed to try to go score and blah, blah, blah. Whereas girls are supposed to keep their virtue intact until they're married.
Not the girls I hang out with.
No, I realize. But what I'm saying is, so the double standard of that right there makes it more...
Especially as we were growing up, I think that standard was stronger even then.
There's a relatively extreme...
Now that line's more blurred. Like, girls have a little more freedom to be who they are and express themselves sexually. When we were growing up, there was that slut finger was ready to be fucking pointed at any time.
Yeah.
And now it's not even...
Yeah.
I don't even think slut's as bad of a word as it used to be.
Oh, I don't know about that. The feminists are really, really going out against that. It's called slut shaming, and it's considered.
Well, that might be their thing, though. I don't think of slut as a bad thing. It depends on how you wield it.
Yeah, I think normally it's used as a negative.
Yeah, I don't use it that way.
I know you have a special
extreme compliment from me.
Yeah,
just a girl who thinks about sex like a man. There's totally nothing wrong with that.
These same groups of feminists, though, they say that on the extreme end, they say that anytime a woman has had any alcohol or is intoxicated at all, that it's non-consensual and that it's rape, or sexual assault at the very least.
Then stay the fuck home, then.
That's just too far.
Yeah,
it's going too far.
You're being ridiculous, man. That kind of all or nothing bullshit eliminates good conversation.
So,
I gotta leave.
So if you get drunk and you have sex with a girl,
yeah,
when you wake up in the morning, she's ugly, and you're like, oh, ugh. Like, did she rape you?
Right.
Should you go out and go, you know what? I was really drunk. I didn't.
Or just
I did not give consent. I wasn't able to give consent. And then you're.
It's a double standard, and they don't apply it to men. So I don't know what they're going to say about that.
But I mean, seriously, there's feminists out there like if she had any to drink at all, it was non-consensual.
There's a few. Normally,
okay, they're fucking idiots.
Well, normally they say. I think the more reasonable ones say if it's they use the 0.08 like another arbitrary number. They do. They use. That's
the point where your physical coordination becomes impaired. Your morals don't fucking slide out the window at 0.08. And if they do, you didn't have any fucking morals to begin with.
That's the thing. They have to make an arbitrary point for this, and so they say, well, if you're too drunk to drive, you're too drunk to consent. And it's these bullshit. There's this. I'm thinking of one video. A YouTube maker, particularly this feminist young lady, she's like 20 years old, and she's just dictating morals to the world. She's just telling you on her video, if you're too drunk to drive, you're too drunk to consent. And I'm like, my whole reaction to her is, who says, like, where did you get that fact?
Because she was told that.
0.08 is based on reaction.
20-year-old
It's based on all physical stuff, reaction times, and eye-hand coordination. That's what the 0.08 is based on. It's not your ability to make a fucking sound decision.
Good point.
Once you get sloppy, stupid fucking drunk, that
yes, and
even then, dude, I've been so drunk, I knew what was going on was fucked up.
Right.
It's not like I forget.
Right.
That, oh man, this is fucked up. I just powerless to do anything about it.
I think women, being smaller, they are way more susceptible to alcohol. So it's probably just more often the case that they get too intoxicated unintentionally, and the predatory nature of a lot of men.
Well, I'm not going to deny that there's that predatory nature and that shit happens to women, because it fucking does.
Oh yeah.
And if you're the guy who does that, you don't want to be trying to do it around me.
Just the uncomfortable fact is that there's no line to draw here about what's too drunk, where the consent goes away. We're all agreed that consent goes away at some point.
Yeah, it does. Definitely.
There's just no way. There's no. I mean,
see, but I think consent goes away when you force someone to.
Yeah.
And
what about when they're sleeping?
And whether it's you're forcing someone to.
Okay.
They're sleeping. They're not awake.
Right.
If they're sleeping, if you are their boss or their teacher or have any kind of authority over them,
authority to get what you want,
or if you're physically forcing them, or if
they don't say no or resist,
but the whole consent, like you go on a date and then you end up having sex, and then the next day the girl's like, oh, you raped me. Like, I'm not saying that happens a lot. I don't know how often it happens, but like things like that where you're like, it seems more like a judgment call after the fact. Like, and it seems like it's from embarrassment or shame, or something like that. Unless the guy actually like forced you like physically, or like try to convince you, like, well, if you don't do this, then
here's the rational feminist,
blah blah blah, like whatever. But even that is like their faulty logic. If it makes you do something that you didn't want to do, like whose fault is that really?
On the feminist side, when we're drawing arbitrary lines here, don't we want to err on the side of the rape victims and not on the side of the men who are falsely accused?
I want to err on the side of the rape victims who are actually damaged, whether emotionally, mentally, physically.
Well, all rape victims are. Right?
No, I'm not even arguing about that, but just that statement.
What I'm saying is, yes, all rape victims are.
Right.
What I'm getting to is, I don't know. There's a lot of cases where you and Brian might be like, I don't really think that's rape.
Yep.
But in society's eyes and in legal eyes and whatever law, it is rape.
Right. Because the feminist position is that if you change your mind afterwards, it is rape. If you regret it, if the woman
even if you change your mind mid-stroke.
Yeah. Well, if the woman regrets her decision, some feminists think, I guess that's one of the more extreme positions. If the woman regrets her decision, then it becomes rape.
Well,
retroactively.
You know what, man? Then you need to make better decisions. That's just that, John. That's fucking
you know what,
dumb.
though, I think my friend Ryan and some of my feminist friends would say that I'm loading the argument. I'm giving too many extreme feminist views
because
here.
that has to be. That can't be the general. Because that's
not the
a
general.
a psychotic extreme, man.
Yeah.
That's just. I agree with what they're saying. Rape is fucking wrong. Dudes who take advantage of drunk girls are fucked up. The only people I ever ratted on were dudes who did that.
Yeah.
And I would do it again in a second. Now I'm a little bigger, a little stronger. I'd fuck both those punks up.
Yeah.
So it'd be a whole different story. But that kind of shit like that extremism, that's feminist extremism, and that's damaging to your cause, ladies.
Yeah.
Because it makes you look insane, and you lose a lot of your audience right away. Those guys who are tipping that maybe that could go asshole, or they could open up their mind to what you're saying, you fucking lose them as soon as you say something that crazy.
But even in defense of the extreme views, I will say that it's that they rationally decide to err on the side of the victims rather than the tiny percentage between 2 and 10% of false rape claims. You know, so.
I'm not even getting into that. Just that kind of extreme view is ridiculous.
You're right. Yeah,
I know that most reported rapes are legit.
Yes,
they're legit.
By far,
very few aren't. I'd say the most of the ones that aren't have some type of celebrity involved.
Well, and most rapes aren't even reported. So
yeah. And the ones
that's a scarier thought.
And still, in the rape kits that are used to treat
weren't even getting
gather evidence, they're stacked up, man.
And that's fucking disgusting.
I think they're starting to go through them now in some states. But
starting to go through them.
That's
I'm sure those ladies feel a lot fucking better that they're starting to go through them.
Yeah. You wouldn't need this extreme feminism if the culture was just keeping up with a rational defense of women and women's rights. If we were already doing these things, we wouldn't need to debate these extreme points, because you wouldn't need an extreme feminist.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
100%.
Let's just let's talk about politics a little. And before we go, here's the thing that conservatives like to say a lot, and independents too. We have a biased liberal media, and the question is, do we really? Is the media biased? Now, the question, of course, this doesn't apply to Fox News, which is obviously biased conservatively. It doesn't apply to MSNBC, which is the mirror image of Fox News and is obviously biased to the liberal side. Those are clearly drawn lines, and so we already know the answer for those. I think the question applies to like CNN, basically, which is the most trusted news source in the country, and it's viewed by some people at least as a moderate source, and others as a liberal bias. I don't think really anyone reasonable will argue that they're biased to the right, that CNN is a conservative station.
I've heard people call them the Clinton News Network, or the Communist News Network.
Yeah. So the question is CNN basically, and sort of internet sources like Google News or Yahoo News, are those things? Well, they don't actually make the news, but like Reuters and Associated Press, is everything biased a little bit to the left? And my answer is yes, it is very slightly biased to the left as a liberal, in terms of liberal views. Now, if Hillary Clinton messes up and gaffes, they're going to be all over it. They're not going to ignore it because they're not super left. They're not super liberal.
It seems like her supporters will.
Ignore it? Of course, yeah.
They don't give a fuck when she gets caught in a lie or when she gets exposed for something. It just doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, no. Same with all the candidates' supporters, though.
Yeah.
Jeb Bush.
Yeah, but the liberals like to present themselves as reasonable, though.
I think,
the fingers that you will screamingly point at the Republicans, you won't point at your own folks.
Yeah,
liberals won't. My liberal friends, if you guys are listening, this is what bugs me the most about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
The shit that all the Bush policies that Obama carried on,
right,
you don't have any problem with.
Right.
You never talk about. That I still have yet to hear one of you mention the National Defense Authorization Act because you don't want to fucking talk about it.
Yeah, and when I get pissed,
which actually just got renewed. The Patriot Act, got renewed, and it's even stronger.
Yeah, it's worse. And you screamed about it for Bush, but with Obama, it's okay.
Yeah, and the NSA now, they were told no more collecting metadata, but this provision in the USA Freedom Act told them you can collect metadata.
Yeah, you can go ahead and do it.
You can read emails. You can read the content of
the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Don't hear anybody talking about that.
Well, a lot of people.
Not my liberal friends. They're not the people who support Obama. They're not going to condemn him for it.
But it was a liberal movement in Congress that initially stopped that from going through. It was Democrats who parted ways with him and said no. And Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren came out and said, no, this is bad. But
Obama supporters, they're not going to hold his feet over the fire about that. It's all good.
And those oppositional Democrats flipped. They were convinced by
how much money do you think that took? Yeah.
Well, I could tell you if I remembered the figure, but I read an article which showed exactly what money went to which Congress people. It was mostly Republicans, but there were Democrats in there too.
Of course there were.
So is CNN biased to the left? Yes, a little bit. And my point was not so much that they won't criticize a Democratic president. I mean, if Obama fucks up,
enough to be noticeable.
Yes. So there you go. I hope that's very satisfying.
And by the weight that they give separate stories.
Yes, exactly. The weight they give. Yeah, just like Fox News won't mention. Or the way they talked about that Charleston shooting as an attack on religion instead of an attack on black people. That was just very disturbing to me. That in those Republican candidates who said this is a very tragic attack on religion, I couldn't believe they said that. That's very
when clearly the statements of the guy who did the shooting indicate absolutely otherwise.
And look, racism isn't necessary to conservatism, but you guys need to make that more clear to the world that you are against killing black people because of their race. You got to just be clear on that, or we're going to mistake you guys for racists. So just be clear that you're against killing black people. Come out and say that. Don't call it a religious.
Did you actually think they were saying that it's okay to kill black people as long as they don't believe in God?
No, but by not mentioning the race.
Why twist the fact that he said it was about race?
It's not really twisting the fact because it was a church. Now, I understand.
But, Mark, it's intentional. You're technically right, but it's intentional to not mention the race of the victims. It was a racial hate crime.
Yes, it was.
So it's an intentional choice not to mention their race.
But part of his reasoning might have been because they were Christians in church. I don't know.
Yeah, but his reasoning was clear based on his manifesto.
There's lots of neo-Nazis that are not fans of Christianity and are against Christianity and Christians as much as they're against Jews or blacks or anybody else.
Yeah, that's true. But in this case, his motivations were clearly found in his manifesto, and he hated them for being black. And I'm not going to deny that. But I'm just saying when they say it was an attack on religion. That's a possibility. True. It's possible. Now they should have said he was a racist and he might whatever. That's all I'm saying.
That's fine.
But everyone
he himself
jumping on their ass. The reason for the killing. I mean, he said that's why he did it.
I was very disturbed by the fact that they didn't mention the race of those people. But whatever.
Now, what's funny about that shooting to me is, the Confederate flag, right? It's a racist. History and all that, and it got brought out into the spotlight because of the picture with him waving it.
Right.
He's also wearing a Gold's Gym tank top.
This is one of the beef's technicality arguments.
I'm just saying, he's wearing a Gold's Gym tank top.
So we should ban Gold's Gym?
Is Gold's Gym possibly a hotbed of racism?
No, Mark, because Gold's Gym has no relation to his ideology or motivations for murder. The Confederate flag did.
Okay, I'll give you another one. Sure? I'll give you another one.
I don't know why he picked to wear that shirt.
Can I give you one that Keith put up?
Yeah.
Should we ban blue and red bandanas because of the hate and the violence that they symbolize?
Here's the thing.
That was from Keith.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty.
It is.
I thought that was pretty telling.
It is, but we're not banning anything. We're taking it down from a state house.
No,
if a state house in some state was raising the bandana,
yeah, probably
that would be a problem.
Well, it would be
we're
really
not
weird.
Banning,
that's
now,
for sure.
Now liberals. Now there are liberals.
Okay, so that's a. Well, but I think the language has been like ban it.
Yes. Well, some language, yeah, and they've taken Dukes of Hazzard off the air on Nickelodeon or something.
That's so weird.
And so things like that. So very I understand the conservative saying, oh, come on, what's going on here? You're trying to ban it.
Should never take Daisy Duke away from kids. That was my first crush, man.
Exactly. And like banning it from, and of course, it's just like the guns. It's those things have been selling like fucking hotcakes since this controversy.
Well, that
Confederate
I find
flags.
weird. Like, but I think
here's how people are tearing them down like hotcakes.
Well, here's how I think about the Confederate flag, though. You've seen Inglourious Bastards, right?
Mm-hmm.
How he's like, when you go home, what are you going to do with your Nazi uniform? He's like, oh, you're going to take it off. Well, we don't like that. I want to know who the fucking Nazis are.
Right.
So I like that you have a Confederate flag
Yeah,
sticker
that's
on
a
your
good
truck
point.
because I can identify you as the fucking moron that you are.
Right, and any liberal who's saying that should not be allowed to put it on my
No,
truck,
please put it on your
screw
truck.
you.
I want to fucking know who you
No,
are.
we're all for free speech here, and
Yeah.
that is not any rational liberal is not calling for that.
Fly
we're
your silly
calling for-
racist flag if you want. I
Yeah,
don't give
yeah,
a fuck.
fly it all day.
Let me know who you are.
Yeah.
It makes it easy for me to separate myself from your dumbass.
Right.
But,
But flying at a state house very different, and
No,
I completely
yes,
support
yes.
taking
Right.
it down.
Yeah, take it
So do
down.
the
Yeah,
Republicans.
well, they fucking fought against the United States government. How do you fly it alongside the United
they're
States flag?
traitors.
You shouldn't.
They're
It's
traitors.
fucking crazy. That's like flying the Nazi flag
But-
right alongside.
It
ours.
is very similar.
But
to that.
with your point, Brian, about the Confederate flag, which I agree with. So the gay cake thing again.
Right.
Like, why?
That's ridiculous.
Well, it's ridiculous, but why are we going to force people to make a cake that they don't want to?
Well, see, that's
Okay,
what I'm
but
saying.
do you have
I
all
thought
the details
management
on this?
reserved the right to refuse service for
Right.
whatever
I thought so,
fucking
too.
reason they want.
Well,
Yeah.
see, that they do, but then where the problem comes is, so if you live in a place, state, city, whatever, that has made a law, anti-discrimination law, where gays are protected, then
That can't be a
you
reason
that can't be the reason.
for
you
denying
can
service.
deny service. You just can't say I did it because they're gay.
Right.
Or
So I
did
can
it
say,
'cause
I don't
they're-"
like you guys. I get a bad vibe from you. I don't want to make your
Right.
cake.
No, you could do that.
But let me ask you this, like, and it's all cool because if that's what you want, though, that like if you want to be protected to that level, then you don't want equality. You want special treatment.
Well, I
Right.
guess they would say
I
that
would-
these laws would
Because
help
there's
to
a lot
level
of-
the playing field by sort of erasing or legislating against
So
discrimination.
you're telling me
but-
you can't find a gay guy that bakes cakes anywhere?
yeah, or
Come
just
on,
a
man.
straight guy.
Or
Right.
yeah, or somebody who's going to sell you a cake.
Yeah.
No,
I
but-
mean,
but-
just
I
go
mean,
somewhere else and get a fucking cake.
Go to the grocery store.
because-
They're gonna make it for you.
Yeah, I get that it
like
sucks.
like you were saying, I want to know who my enemies are. I want to know who the retards
Right.
that think this way still.
Tell
and
me you're a
believe this
fool.
crap. Yeah,
and
like,
just go on
announce
Facebook.
it. Put it
Yeah,
on
go on
Facebook,
Facebook and say, "These
make
guys won't bake
make,
a cake
make
for
it
me."
in
Exactly.
your name.
Yeah.
Make like Mary Lou's Bakery. We don't serve fags.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's one of the ugliest things
Put 'em
about,
out there.
about liberals is their use of infrastructure to punish those who disagree with them. It's one of the ugliest things where they they call
And
for
it's
people
such
to
a
get
sissy way to do shit too.
That's why my theory expressed last week was that liberalism is a feminine ideology, and don't jump down my throat for saying that until you listen to the show last week and understand the nuances of my point. I'm a liberal, and I'm saying that I think liberalism is in some ways a feminine ideology, and so women. This is gonna. I don't know. Women just.
You're about to make somebody mad.
Yeah,
huh? I
women-
can tell by you stuttering.
Well, just women traditionally.
You're about to make somebody mad.
Conflict resolution for women is different in general than it is for men. So men can resolve conflict using brutal and primitive methods like force, like physical
Well, like
force.
Nick and I talked about, we agreed that the punch in the face should be back on the table.
Right, the punch in the face between men as a way of
Put it on the table.
or the formal fight. Like,
Right.
let's go fight,
Let's
you and
throw
me
down.
outside until one
Not
of
an
us.
old school duel, but
Yeah.
till one of us quits or
And
until one of us
we're
is
not
out.
talking about kicking you in the teeth. We're talking
No.
about till one guy
Yep.
taps out or
Taps out or
can't
goes
get up.
out. Yep.
Yeah. So
Fair fight.
women, of course, you can't ask them to play by those rules. That's not their world. So they're not gonna, especially.
No, and here's the weird thing. Even a
And it's
girl who
good
wants
thing.
to throw at you, don't throw back because now you're an asshole.
Right. But to their credit, what I'm saying is, just traditionally through the ages, they've had to resolve conflicts in more, I'd say, intelligent and nuanced ways.
But that's
Right.
but that's see.
And so
but that's
they-
not liberalism, because
No, that's not.
if they're doing it in intelligent and nuanced ways, they're doing it with guile, their wits. They're doing it. They're trying to convince you in whatever way they can. They're not forcing you
Well,
to believe what they believe.
No,
which is what liberalism
No,
does with
they're
this.
just eliciting a compromise.
or
an agreement.
Right.
Or they're trying to make you see their point or trick you into
Yeah, but
doing
but if I-
doing what they want. Like your wife she wants you to do the dishes, so and she knows if she brings it up, you're going to be like, I don't want to do
she's
that.
sweet.
So she might do something to get you to do the dishes.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? I mean, and that's what
Just like
women
you might
will
do something, like you want her to go to the baseball game with you. You do something for her.
And
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
can do the same thing, but I'm just talking about, so like John was
Generally.
saying, like men would use brute force
Right.
or physical, violence to force someone to do something.
Well, and I think through
Whereas
history, as we
women would
evolved,
be-
that was more common
Well,
to
right.
beat on each other.
Yeah.
But this liberalism thing now, and this is what people don't realize, I think. They go, oh, well, we're just going to force you through a law, through the government to do this. It's not actual force. It's like, yeah, but how is that law backed? Like,
By
well,
force.
fuck your law. I'm not going to do your law. Well, then
Police
we're going
gun.
to fine you. Well, I'm not going to pay your fine.
Throw
Well,
you
then
in
we're going to jail you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to go to jail. Well, then we're going to...
It is still force.
What
Right.
are they going to do? They're going to kill you. They're eventually going to get to the point where they come to you with guns and kill you.
Yeah, or at the very least lock you in a cage.
If they can take you alive.
Right.
If you're like, fuck you, you're not taking me
Yeah.
into that cage.
But then
What are they gonna do?
but that's just their version of force then. If a punch in the
that's
face
not
is
their
forceful
version
too.
of force. That is force.
Right. And so why are they wrong to do
No,
that if
no,
I'm
what
forcing
okay.
Brian by punching him by fighting him?
But we would agree
I'm not
to
saying
it.
they're wrong.
Afterwards we would
Not
agree.
saying
Oh,
they're
we
agree
agree
wrong.
to it
fight.
right now.
I'm
Like,
saying
it's
they're
going to be a
wrong.
legal
I'm
thing.
saying that liberalism then is just steps separated from the masculine.
Right.
It's not feminine
Okay.
because it's still masculine. It's
Right.
just a couple steps removed.
Well, I think like
from the raw violence.
well,
Right.
a less extreme thing would
It
be
still gets down to raw violence if you take it.
So less extreme thing
let
would
me ask
be-
you guys this. So I think we all agree that to force those people to make a cake or to punish them for not doing it, it's a little bit out of line. It's out of line.
I haven't considered it 100%, but I think I'm with you on that.
I don't want somebody
I don't
to
want
do
legal-
something for me that doesn't want to fucking do it
Yeah.
for
Right,
me.
because
Yeah.
what are they
I'll
going to do?
just go
Th-
find somebody
really?
else.
You want someone to make you food that they don't want to make you food?
That's a fucking free market. Like, there's a lot of reasons people could deny me service. I've been treated like shit by businesses. I'll fucking go somewhere else, man. When I went to buy my Nissan, I stopped at Toyota first. I was going to get an FJ.
Yeah.
I walked around the parking lot, Christine and I, for about 45 minutes. I watched people look at me and my tattoos and fucking ignore me.
Yeah.
Salesmen.
Yeah.
So when I went over and got my Xterra, I fucking drove it back to Toyota. And they're like, oh, you looking to trade in? I said, no, I just bought this. I was here, and nobody would fucking help me. So I took my 850 credit score over to Nissan, and I bought this car instead. So I just wanted to come back. You're the sales manager.
It
I
goes up
asked,
to 850.
yeah, I asked for the sales manager, and I told
Yeah.
him, I said, this was
That
your
was
money,
brilliant,
and you
dude.
guys fucking let it go.
Right.
Just wanted to tell
and
you.
that's how you can use capitalism and democracy to get
Yeah.
your way is by, like we said, go on Yelp, go on Facebook, and tell everybody.
Put them on blast.
These people wouldn't make me a cake because I'm gay.
Yep.
60% of the world is going to view that and go, oh, screw that cake, asshole. I'm not going
I'll
to shop
tell you
there.
exactly what I'm going to do. You're never making a cake for me.
Right.
yeah.
And that's the way to do it. Or if a comedian offends you with a rape joke, go online,
Put it on blast.
tell everyone this guy tells rape jokes, and everyone who is automatically against rape jokes will not listen to that
I'm not gonna
comedian.
buy a ticket to his show.
Right.
Or just get up, and
that's the best
get
way
up
to do
and
it.
leave
Yeah.
at the actual comedy show.
And that's the best way to do it. There's probably a reasonable argument for the legislative approach that we're not considering, but we'll leave that to when someone else can come on and explain that to us. So I agree that the media is slightly biased to the left, and the question is why? Is it a conspiracy against Christianity and conservatives? No. The reasons are two that I could figure out. One, education. And I don't mean this to sound smarmy, but people with college degrees and above are more likely to be liberals than conservatives. And I don't believe that's necessarily because they're smarter and smart people are liberals. I don't really think that. What I do think is that when you study history, you start to realize the values of liberalism as a basic ideology and how it lies at the foundation of our system of government, the idea of democracy, the idea of equality,
Tolerance.
Those things are all written into the Declaration of Independence, and they're liberal ideas. Like I said, liberalism was different back then than it is today. I'm not saying that today's liberal is the founding father. Obviously, a lot of them owned slaves. So, no, but it's a continuum. It's a process of using the same ideals of equality and freedom. The conservatives in 1776 were loyalists. They thought conservatism back then said, no, stay loyal to King George. Your job as a subject of the king is loyalty to that king. So you're all traitors for revolting and starting this democracy. So that was conservatism in 1776. 100 years later, it was pro-slavery. That was conservatism. And 100 years after that, it was pro-segregation. And
you have to remember about 1776. The people here, the founders of the country, didn't want to pay taxes. So that was a big factor,
right?
Was not paying taxes.
Yeah, that's a conservative ideal. Is
the founders of our country?
No, I got it
not
backwards.
the loyalists.
Yeah. Well, wait. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, taxes were an issue, but
which liberals pretty much are okay with paying taxes to the government because it's going to go to social services and
infrastructure.
So I'm just saying that's one factor that you might be a little wrong about that. It might be a little confusing. Not as open and shut as the loyalists were the conservatives.
That's a good point. I don't know if the issue of taxes is really theoretically is aligned with liberalism or conservatism. I think that's kind of more of a modern American.
Well, that's what we're talking about, right?
No, we're talking about 1776. So I'm saying that
we're talking about
the values of democracy are inherent to liberalism.
But you're talking about
but taxes are not inherent
as compared to modern today. You're saying the modern conservatives, if they were conservative, if they went back to 1776, they'd be loyalists. Was that not your point?
Oh, yeah.
Was that not your point?
Yeah. That was I don't know. That was my point. That was my point. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just saying again, it's not quite that open.
It's a very good point. Yeah. What my response would just be that the issue of pro or against taxes is not inherent to liberalism as an ideology.
It is today.
Yeah, it's not inherent to it, though. In other words, it's not in the equality is inherent to liberalism. It's always been an ideal. Okay, democracy always been an ideal of liberalism since 1650 or whenever the Enlightenment started.
Now with you saying equality has always been inherent to liberalism,
right?
Lots of people equate liberalism with Democrats, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so Democrats during the Civil War, were they inherently linked to equality?
No, the Democratic Party in the Civil War, we've been over this. We're not the Liberal Party.
All I'm saying is the words that you're using and the ideas that you're coming up with aren't quite so cut and dry and clearly, defined as what you're saying.
Well, I'm sure you're right about that. I didn't think all that hard about this. So education is one thing. Reason that the media is biased to the left. People, that's just a fact about
and most
demographics.
Most colleges are more liberal than conservative,
right? And because of that link,
because they're open to newer ideas. They're usually more closely connected to the government.
Yes, that's a good point.
And laws and stuff. And currently, and even during George W. Bush, it's just a shift of the mood of society that we are more open to equality and open to gays now having these same rights and
That's a good point. The groups that tilt Republican: Mormons, white evangelical Protestants, white Southerners, white men with some college or less, white people, and old people between 69 and 86. Groups that tilt Democratic: Black, Asian, religiously unaffiliated, postgraduate women, Jewish, Hispanic, and millennials, 18 through 33. Oh, I'm a millennial? I'm 32. I did not know that.
That's funny to me that it says Asians are more tilted to that.
Yeah, by a lot. 65% group tilt Democratic to 23%.
If you look at, and I don't know what the numbers are or statistics, but if you look at a lot of Asian countries, a lot of them are pretty, even Japan is very conservative in its social aspects. And these are rules that we all follow. And if you break these rules, maybe you're not punished by the government, but you have a social stigma on you now. and it's a lot. That's a lot closer to conservatives.
Well, they're
than
collective.
liberals.
They're collective cultures, so they don't like people. This is a huge generalization, but they don't like people that stand out or defy the trend, the thing. So that's, I think, maybe
Right,
what you're thinking of. They're collectivist societies.
But I'm also thinking about like.
Don't they have laws protecting women and protecting gays and stuff in Japan, in advanced Asian countries?
I don't know if they have laws. Japan, if you're black and you go to Japan,
Yeah.
you're going to get a lot more racism than if you're in America.
I think
Yes,
you'll get a lot of
are.
curiosity because there aren't
no,
any
it's-
black people there. But
Do you know what they call
I met a
any
guy-
outsiders? And they
Gaijin.
still call out gaijin.
Yeah.
You know what it means?
what?
It means like monster or demon.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I met a guy who works in Japan on the John Muir Trail this year,
Oh yeah.
and he talked about all the misconceptions we have about like how hard they work and
Yeah.
this and the other thing.
We
He's-
work longer hours.
Yeah,
Than they
well, and
do.
he said just because they're at work all day, so I'm gonna tell you right now, he's like, people work harder here. He's like, they might be there, but they ain't doing shit half the time. He's like, just because you're there for long hours doesn't mean you're fucking
Yeah.
productive.
Yeah.
And he said, so productivity and work hours are different things. And I don't remember a lot of the other stuff. I was talking to his buddy more, but he said there's just so many. Americans have no idea what it's actually like in Japan unless you've been there and lived there, and like they're not as.
I would love
It's
to
not
visit,
as
man.
honorable and and as
I would love to visit. Though.
as we.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
I would
there's,
too.
there's plenty of people in Japan that aren't especially now that aren't following the
Yeah.
cultural
Yeah.
rules and whatnot. But I'm just saying, like, not just Japan, but so Philippines, Malaysia. You know, I mean, they're caning the one country I can't remember, Singapore. They're caning people for chewing
Right,
gum.
right.
You know,
Or
so I mean,
spitting.
or spitting. So
Yeah.
how liberal is that? And I mean, maybe the Asian people that have come over here now don't want to be under that yoke, and
That's why they lean that
and so
way.
that's why
You know,
they're
they're like,
leaning that
way.
out from under it. Let's
Yeah.
get it.
I
Let's
don't
go
know.
as far away as we can. I agree with you, though. I think culturally, Asian countries are more conservative.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. The most left-leaning countries have got to be Europe, and then the most right Muslim nations and sort of poorer African nations, poorer Asian countries are
When
going to
it's
be
still like autocracies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and just heavily influenced by religious ideals. That's when you get conservatism in its most pure form, or its extreme form. I mean. So my explanation was just, yes, the media is slightly biased to the left, but that's because journalists and media people are all educated folk with postgraduate degrees. So that's one reason. And the other reason is that just the foundations of our culture in general are based in liberalism. Now, it's not the same as saying gay rights and all the things that liberalism means today. That's not the foundations of our culture. But it is, those issues are on a continuum of liberalism with democracy and equality that the country was founded on. And historically speaking, those are liberal principles. Now, you can come back and tell me why today's conservatism accepts those things, because of course it does. Conservatives today accept democracy and equality and things like that. But they have more specific views, modern views against today's liberalism. You can explain that to me, and that's fine. But my point is just the foundations of our culture are liberal, and that's an important thing to think about.
Well, how come the media bias is what everyone always talks about? How come nobody ever talks about political bias in medicine, in law, in
I think
like
they
any
do
other?
because the conservatives do that. They say that they have started to demonize quote unquote intellectuals, which is a horrible, horrible, dangerous road to go down when you start demonizing quote unquote intellectuals, because they've learned that highly educated people are more often liberal, so the conservatives have to respond to that in some way. And so I do think that they do say that medicine and law are all geared to the left.
Well, also, I think that has a great deal to do with who the conservative leaders of today are, not just political leaders, but people
Intellectual
that,
leaders.
In the media, whatever. Like, we used to have, William Buckley used to be around, and people like that. George Will still is,
Yeah.
but hardly anyone listens to George Will anymore, and they're listening to fucking Sarah Palin.
or Bill O'Reilly. Those are just entertainers.
Just blowhards, yeah.
So William F. Buckley, I mean, if you're an intelligent conservative, go back and listen to him. He was a genius and a great conservative thinker, extremely arrogant and snide and snotty, but just so smart and so well-spoken. And he had Firing Line, I think was the name of that show, and it went for like 20 years, 30 years. And he wasn't afraid of anyone. He had Chomsky on there. He would have black activists on there, and they would have amazing back-and-forth debates. Buckley was
I watched that a few times.
Yeah.
I just don't watch stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
Firing Line. And he...
I totally remember that show.
He started the National Review, I think, which is
Yeah.
I looked up the other day because I wanted to subscribe to some magazines, and I was like, I need to get an intellectual conservative magazine here to read every week. I need that. And I was looking at, like, what are the really highly regarded, no bullshit conservative, and the National Review is still out there, is really highly regarded as a great conservative publication.
And if you're worried about liberal bias in your media, you should probably get, as a newspaper, The Economist.
Yeah.
Or Wall Street Journal. Wall Street Journal is probably a little maybe
Definitely
considered more conservative than The Economist.
Yeah.
But the Wall Street Journal is basically stuff that's in The Economist, but like a week later.
Yeah.
So The Economist is a little more right now what's happening.
It's
and the Wall
weekly.
Street Journal is
They have an
just a
online
little
thing too, right? The
further
Economist.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I find that I get some reliable. I think I'm getting some reliable conservative sides of the story from things that
The
are
Economist
labeled from The Economist.
The Economist leans left. It's a British magazine. But it's very middle. It's very moderate. They never go far to the.
Well, that's what I
liberal
mean.
side.
I feel like I get pretty good information from sources that have that tag on them.
It's so good. Well, I have that tag maybe, but I don't think you can read their articles
Yeah,
for
you
free.
can.
I think there's a paywall, isn't there?
Well, I don't know. I know there's
And Wall Street Journal.
whatever
I'm
it
almost
is,
positive
whatever it
I've
is that
read things from
there's
them
links for The
online,
Economist
yeah.
that'll take you to The Economist website
Okay.
that you're reading the story.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's just stuff that they have allowed out
Yeah,
there.
I think it might be like
That's,
a select few.
yeah.
I used to get The Economist, and it's there's so much in every magazine. It's
Yeah.
so much content, and it's all good, and it teaches you about Greece and all these things trade deals that you never would have thought about. Wall Street Journal is also good. Definitely leans to the right. It's definitely a conservative magazine, but it's a well-regarded one, and if they tell you that something happened, it probably happened, and they're probably not misquoting the person. Right. Oh yeah, if Brian's mom, on the off chance that she listens to this, she was a little bit unhappy about Bernie Sanders because she found out that he said something about what did she say? What did she think
like
that he
white
said?
people need to apologize for slavery.
Right.
It was some meme, and I'm like, you
Right.
got to question every single fucking meme that you see.
So I looked it up, and what happened was he was on a talk show with a black host and everything, and the host questioned him about this topic because when Bill Clinton was president, a lot of activists were trying to get him to apologize as the representative of the country for slavery. And I don't know. I guess that's important to some civil rights activists, and it's interesting. But so this host asked Bernie, "What do you think about that? If you were president, would you do that? Would you apologize?" And so he went on this long kind of unplanned thing about, well, he's like, as a country, I guess, I think, yes, we as a country, we should apologize for slavery. And the guy goes, well, if you become president, will you do it? And he was like, what Bernie said is, as a president, he goes, I don't think it was all in the middle of ums and uhs. And he was saying, as a president, no, was his answer, that he wouldn't. But that generally he thinks that the country should, the nation in some symbolic way should apologize for slavery. So he never said that anything about white people.
Right.
Never. Nothing was said about white
It doesn't even
people.
sound like something he would say.
No. So that is not really true. But if maybe you're against the whole idea that the nation should apologize for slavery, and in that sense you disagree with him on that point. So that's fine. I'm not really against that.
I think I know what Keith would say. I mean, who are we? What slave are you apologizing to?
Right.
Like
They're all dead.
They're all dead.
Yeah.
There's nobody here who owned slaves.
Right.
There's nobody here who was a slave. So who would we be apologizing to?
But it's like when it's like when the
I mean,
Pope
just
apologized,
to the world, like a cosmic apology.
It
like
is.
This is
well, remember when
and that's okay,
Pope John
I guess.
Paul II apologized for the Vatican's role in the Holocaust?
Oh well, that was nice. So in that respect, okay, that's cool. But I mean, don't we have problems right now?
Yeah.
Because slavery is not a current issue.
No.
It's not. There's racism is an issue, but we could address that in a different fucking way than some cheesy apology.
Right.
Like,
But like I said with the Pope thing, some people think that a symbolic apology is important.
I guess they are nice, but
at the same time, they are tied together because people keep bringing it up as racism today stems from the slavery, the institution of slavery that we used to have.
Yeah.
So what was Bernie
that's
Sanders?
probably not the Native Americans' take, because they have just as much racism pointed at them as any black person ever had in this country.
No,
and it wasn't because of slavery.
You are correct, Brian. But generally, when people talk about racism in this country,
they're talking about black people and slavery,
whites.
right?
You know, that's what they're talking about.
They're saying that it never. So after slavery was abolished, for example, the police would arrest black people on spurious charges and they rent their labor to plantations, and then the cops would take the money, and then the black person would eventually be released. This went on until the 40s.
Well,
and the reason they put an end
today, because you have prisoners doing work.
Yeah,
right. They're
arrested on drug charges,
they're arrested on drug.
Whereas crack gets 100. The sentence for crack is 100 times greater than the sentence for powder cocaine, which is was just. White people can afford that more, so that's their drug of choice, whereas crack was a black phenomenon because it was cheaper. So, But the sentence is 100 times greater for crack, literally. So when liberals say the drug war is racist, this is the kind of thing they're talking about. And that's a good point, Mark. But that was going on.
That's also about what kind of lawyer you can hire, too. So that's about affluence as well.
Right, exactly.
Because if you get caught with crack and you can hire a good lawyer, you're probably getting off.
But do you know what put an end to that indentured servitude after the Emancipation Proclamation? The Axis powers, Germany and stuff, they put up all these propaganda posters and leaflets about how Americans still had slavery. They said, look, they do this this thing where this police thing where they rent the blacks out as labor, and that was propaganda during World War II. And so we put an end to it. We stopped it all. I could not believe it was going on in 1939.
Wow.
And then after that, segregation was still legal until 1963.
Right. So what was Sanders' reasoning for, as president, he wouldn't apologize?
He was just on the spot, and I think he wanted to be honest that he wasn't going to do it. I don't know.
If you apologize, I understand not apologizing as a white person because, I don't think there's a white person alive today that owned a slave.
No.
And I don't think a white person needs to apologize about everything that any or was in white society. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that'd be like asking all black people, you should apologize for OJ. You should apologize for...
Well, I don't know why they're not asking Obama to apologize then. If he's the representative of the country, plus he's half white.
For slavery. But my point about that is, I don't see... You apologize for slavery. What is the fallout? What's the bad thing that happens?
Conservatives hate. Well, Brian's mom was horrified by the idea that white people. I mean, she had it a little bit.
But she still thinks that slavery should be legal.
I think she just like, why would we apologize for fucking?
She never owned. She never owned a slave. She never did Jim Crow laws.
And again, I would not be apologizing for as a white person,
right? As
a country, I would be apologizing as the country,
right?
Be saying yes. Our history of this country and how we became what we are largely is due to slavery. And Native Americans, our genocide of the Native Americans.
Yeah.
I would not have a problem with apologizing for all the injustices that we've done, just to kind of clear the table, just to get this shit out. Like, everyone wants to blah, 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 blah about this stuff that's not really going on anymore.
So an apology might diffuse it a little bit.
As long as we use it for a springboard to move forward and stop looking back. Because that shit's behind us. We can't undo it. It's done, man. Let's move forward to be a better place, to be a better country. And if it's a springboard for that, fuck yeah, let's do it twice.
Well, because you don't want to ignore history, and if no president has ever mentioned it, it's kind of ignoring history.
Well, right? I'm not saying that's a solution to our problems.
But
if it opens the discussion and gets us moving forward, then it's a good thing. Yeah. Then it's a good thing. I'm for it. If that's the tinder that burns the fucking fire that moves us into the next phase of human evolution and acceptance.
And anyway, this isn't some Bernie Sanders policy. This is a question that a host asked him on the spot. This isn't something he's campaigning on.
But the real point is, the point I want to get across is don't get fed what you think is news by a fucking stupid meme on Facebook. Any asshole can take a picture and put some fucking words on it and attribute it to somebody who's in the public eye. And if you just buy that at face value and start walking with it, you're part of the problem.
Fact checking and research
ain't hard.
Well, they're not going to be pleasant, because if you have ideological views, you're going to find things that contradict them. That goes for me as well as you.
It's gone for me and a lot. And you know how much I've changed on this shit in the last 2 years, and I've had to eat a lot of fucking crow.
Yeah.
And I think you've noticed there's been a big slowdown in shit that I will throw up or talk about, because I find out before I even say anything about it that, oh, my guy's full of shit.
Yeah, me too.
Well, and also, if you're going to research stuff,
multiple sources,
but also, like, don't take blogs. Like, no matter what the blog is, don't take, like, actually, like, look, like, if it's a ruling by the government, then actually read the fucking ruling.
Yeah, it's in there. Or if it was a vote, you can go find out how your guy voted. That's a matter of public record. It's easy to find that shit out. Kind of stuff. How many executive orders have been written? All public records. Just go look it up.
I did hear some kind of fact. I wish I could remember it, about the cake thing, though, where there was something more to it, and it was.
So what happened was, the Oregon thing. There was a lesbian couple, that wanted to get a cake made. Mother of one of them had gotten a cake made for someone else from this bakery, so they went to the bakery. And they maybe even got another sample cake or something, to try it out. And then they went back and they wanted to get a wedding cake. And they told them, said, well, we want a cake for a wedding, blah, blah. Well, who's the groom and who's the bride? Well, it's two women.
Oh, two women, sorry.
So they said, well, no, I'm sorry I wasted your time, but we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So then supposedly and then I think the mother argued with the guy who was the husband of the woman who owned the bakery, and was trying to get him to do it, and he gave her some Bible verses from Leviticus about
maybe their argument
being an abomination and blah blah blah.
Their argument was that they're going to waste time and money now getting a new baker.
Well, they had a lot of things. They lost out on vacation time in doing the lawsuit. Yeah, and there was all kinds. But so the conservative blogs were saying that, look, these guys won $135,000 for wanting a cake to be made, and the bakery didn't want to make it, and Oregon is forcing them to pay this. Yeah. Well, then liberal blogs came out and said, no, they didn't. They're not doing it for that. They're doing it because they published their addresses and their names.
That was it. The conservative bakery published the names of the lesbian.
Right. But really what happened was the bakery, they just kept it in the media. They kept bringing it up on Facebook and bringing it up because I don't know if they're fighting it or just feeling like we know is wrong. And
did they publish their personal information?
Their personal information, I think, was in something like when they were mostly coming out and saying, we're not going to make cakes for gay marriages. Right. We're not going to do that. So that was and they kept bringing up, the maybe that case. I don't know. Uh-huh. But there wasn't even a case yet, actually. So their names and addresses did get published. I don't know if the bakery itself published it or there's a family resource council or something.
Okay,
something.
All right.
They might have published them. I don't know. But when you read the ruling, they don't say that they're fining them because they published the addresses and their names. Okay. They're saying it's because they kept bringing it up and saying they wouldn't bake a cake.
Okay, so because that's a good example of me listening to a blog that said that the ruling was about the addresses.
So both conservative and liberal blogs were wrong. Completely full of crap.
All right, we're going to wrap it up, guys. I do want to say Bernie Sanders, man, he's on a roll. He's moving up in the polls. He's getting that name recognition now. People on the other party, on the other side, have heard his name. Also, he's an independent. He's not a Democratic senator. He's an independent, always has been. And longest-serving independent congressman of all time, ever in America. And trends in party identification, holy crap. For the first time, there was a brief moment in the first Bush administration when independents had more support than either party. That was the Ross Perot era. And besides that, this is the first time and the biggest lead ever for independents in America. 39% of those polled are independents, compared to 32% are Democrats, and Republicans trailing, coming in the last with 23%.
I feel like Bernie's the first legitimate independent candidate that I'm not going to throw away a vote. Like, I feel like it's a good vote.
Well, he's running as a Democratic primary, so you gotta make him beat Hillary for him to get into the general election.
And I just found out I can vote in one or the other, right?
Yeah, you can think in Arizona you can be. No, if you're a registered independent,
you can vote in one of the. And who cares about the Republican primary? Because that's really like which one of those clowns
is going to Trump.
It's a fucking clown car full of idiots. Like, who pick one?
Trump just getting so much love and support for saying the most horrible things he can about immigrants. Just he's number one in the polls right now. Of course, he won't stay there. He's history. He's not going to be the guy.
But that's why if you're a Republican and you want Sanders, go vote in the primary and try to elect Trump. Try to get somebody who is probably going to look like a complete idiot compared to Sanders.
Well, if America would elect a douchebag like Donald, I'm serious. I'm fucking moving, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm a Canadian or a Mexican, but I'm out.
Don't be Rush Limbaugh.
Everyone says they're going to move.
Trump, man, really? If we vote then that big of a douchebag, Ted Nugent's even a bigger douchebag.
Wait, all the conservatives who said that they were going to move to Canada when we legalized gay marriage. And then it was explained to them that gay marriage is legal in Canada for the last 20 years. And they have socialized medicine. Don't you guys hate that?
Yeah,
don't you hate free medicine? You guys are against free medicine for all.
I remember when somebody was talking about moving to Australia, and they're like, "Yeah, their premier's like a lesbian atheist." Dude. What the fuck are you talking about?
And it's a conservative too. That's their conservative.
So
a lesbian atheist.
Yeah, is their idea of a conservative? That's
their right-wing wacko. Yeah. So 39% of us American people are independents. Very exciting. Bernie Sanders is our guy, and we want him to be the...
Except for, don't forget, there are actual real independents out there, since Bernie Sanders is a Democrat.
He's not a Democrat.
Yes, he's running for a Democratic Party.
He's not a Democrat.
Get in on the
he's not a registered
Democratic Party.
Right? That doesn't mean he's a Democrat.
He's exploiting the system to make it work for him.
Was Ron Paul a Republican?
No. Yes.
No, he wasn't.
He ran as one, but that's fucking semantics. He's using it to. He's exploiting a system.
You have to go by the
party.
You have to go by the guy's political identification.
There's other parties.
You go by the person's political identification.
Right, which is a Democrat.
No, it isn't. It's an independent. He's registered to vote as an independent.
He's a Democrat.
All right. Thanks, guys, for listening.
Bernie Sanders will be in Phoenix next Saturday.
Yes, he will be. I would love to do that. What? To go? Paula signed us up to go to see Bernie.
I got baseball tickets Friday night.
Oh, wait, it's
Saturday.
I'll be there Saturday, so you guys find a place to stay overnight. You can fucking...
That works perfectly.
So you have to decide if you want to go to the baseball game or not. We'll probably take separate cars because we got to jet right back if you guys are staying up there for Bernie.
Okay, I'm confused, but we'll figure it out.
All right.
And thank you for the ticket offer. Everyone, thank you for listening to the show. We're going to be back next Sunday with an awesome guest, Master Sergeant Brian Varble. You guys are going to love this. If you're a conservative and you listen to this show somehow...
I think he's our first legit conservative guest.
Yeah. Just write in as for questions you want me to ask him and things you want us to bring up to make me look like an idiot. And there's a lot of those, so send them in. And give us suggestions. I don't know. Share the show, guys. Thanks for listening. Send us
money.
Yeah.
We like fan mail, naked pictures. I take it all.
Yeah.
Send it care of John, though.
Keep the kiddie porn to a minimum.
Like none.
Well.
He said kitty.
Yeah,
cats. Good, right.
Come on, guys.
Well, we don't have to keep that to a minimum.
Come on. Cats is what I meant.
Right. TT.
TTY.
Can a kitty give consent?
Mine did last night.
Oh.
To another cat, though, right?
For food. That's what they consented to.
By looking at them,
treats.
That's the truth. There's some fat cats.
They're rather engorged. All right, guys. Have a good one. See you
later.